You like it when they lose. Can I just tell you guys something? I am in such a good mood today. I'm going to have to pace myself, John, because of what I witnessed last night with the Philadelphia 76ers. And this is coming off of the great beatdown win over the New York Giants by the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday. Today's one of these days where we're going to have to do the balancing act between both teams. We have great topics for the Eagles. We have more reaction for the Sixers. But, man, that idea that you guys like it when they lose, wrong. Because I like to come in with my head up high. I like to come in with my chest out. I like to come in a good mood. And I am in a damn good mood today, John Kincade. At one point, Connor said during our pre-show prep, man, you're fired up today. And I said, yes, because the Sixers won again last night. And, of course, because the Eagles, we're still riding high. And we have a stress-free bye week, baby. The only thing that's stressful is what do they do at the trade deadline. That's it. Good morning, John Kincade.
You get 2 weeks off, from 2 weekends off, I should say, from Eagles football because we don't play again until Monday, November 10th.
Yeah.
But last night, it is one of those things where we look selfishly. You don't know how many times that Andrew and Connor and I have said behind the scenes, you know, wouldn't it be great if the Sixers and the Flyers got relevant again?
Yes.
Got really relevant again. And we had stuff to talk about every day where they actually made themselves relevant teams. The Sixers have done everything in their power to early on in the year make us be like, hey, take notice.
Yeah.
It's so entertaining.
And relevant to the point where you're not just bashing your head against the wall, because they were relevant last year because it seemed like every single week there was a new story, but it was
drama.
Stories that led to you literally wanting to bash your head against the
drama.
wall.
We don't want the drama. I don't want the A.J. Brown drama. I want the winning teams because the winning teams gets the most people engaged.
Yeah, absolutely.
It always does.
And you're getting winning from the Sixers right now, 3-0 to start the season. I have to pace myself. We will get into the Sixers toward the bottom of this hour because I have a very important question that I need to ask, and I might be getting a little ahead of myself, which is why I'm going to try to pace myself today, John Kincade.
I read the question. I think you're getting a little ahead of yourself, but it's all right.
We'll see.
We'll see what happens.
Are they
but
winning the championship this year?
No, but it's
not the question.
It is fun to dream.
Yes, it is.
As a sports fan, it's fun to dream.
It's absolutely
a lot more fun than not having any dreams at all.
So who should we criticize for the Eagles today? 6-1. Just kidding. All right, we have some mid-season bye-week Eagles topics that we're going to throw towards your way the rest of this week, all of next week. To John's point, we don't watch them again until a Monday game, right? So we have 2 weekends without the Philadelphia Eagles.
So Pumpkin Patch, well, no. Do you do Pumpkin Patch after Halloween?
No.
No, not really. So you have 2 weekends where you better make up for it, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
You better be spending some time with your significant others. Really put some good kids time in.
Yeah.
This is the time.
Because then it's the stretch run after that.
Then you're in the bunker.
Yeah, especially
you're in the bunker.
Especially January during the long playoff run. You're just non-existent in the household. That's what pretty much I was last year. So we have reached the midway point of the season for the Eagles. It's so funny. You and I were doing this on post-show headlines. I don't know what the technical midway point is because they play an odd number of games.
I hate that they play an odd
weird.
number of games. It bothers me.
But the Eagles have played 8 games, and Week 9 is their bye week. So either way, they've reached the midway point. So our question today for the Eagles is who has been fairly or unfairly criticized at times this year for the Philadelphia Eagles?
I love the way you framed this, and when we were talking about it yesterday, putting this together, I love the way you're approaching this because, to me, it takes it from if someone feels somebody is being attacked unfairly, they got a forum.
Yeah.
If somebody thinks somebody isn't being attacked enough or criticized enough, they have a forum.
You would say that Bill Colarulo and our friends on Unfiltered would think that
everybody's too critiqued.
Well, I was going to just say Kevin Patullo, but yes. Maybe that's true too. But you would think that they would have the forum to come onto this show and say, hey, we believe that Kevin Patullo has been unfairly criticized this year. I have been critical up until the Vikings game where he put the team on his damn back of Jalen Hurts, despite him putting up numbers this year where you should start saying, hey, maybe he's not top 5 in MVP conversation just yet, but he should start getting looked at. And yesterday we went through it. He's 10th on FanDuel for odds. I'm sure he's around 10th.
By the way,
on the other books.
I did use my free bet with the BetParks app on a J owner.
Smart thing to do.
Just to throw it his way.
Yeah.
Just to throw it his way. Who knows? Because if they beat Green Bay and Detroit, he's top 3. He moves to top 3.
Right.
If he pulls off those 2 wins, then people are going to be like, oh, wow.
Right.
They're on the way to being the number 1 seed and things like that.
So you can text in, you can call in at 610-632-0975 with any name, position group person. Doesn't have to be a player, can be a coach, can be an executive, can be a general manager.
Yes.
Hint, hint, we will talk about Howie Roseman at some point today. But I want to start with probably the name that we talk about the most, and that's Kevin Patullo. So Kevin Patullo, through 8 weeks as the offensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles, last week was by far his best game. This past Sunday against
exquisite.
the New York Giants has by far been his best game. There have been areas of the field when it comes to play calling where he has thrived. You have brought up the red zone offense numerous times this year.
Better than Andy Reid ever was.
Which is amazing.
And, I mean, we're talking 8 games. I mean, 8 games is a great sample size. They're on track to have their best season ever in the history of the franchise in the red zone. That's all you need to know.
That's incredible.
Then that is Kevin Patullo's resume.
Right.
He gets credit for that because he's drawing up those plays and feeling good about it. And they're creative and innovative and stuff we haven't been seeing.
It's not just – look, last year they could just hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley, get to the 1-yard line every single time it seemed like, and then Jalen Hurts push, right? Like that's what it was last year because they were so dominant and they were just beating up people at the line of scrimmage that they were able to do that. This year, because the offensive line is banged up, literally missing games, or banged up they just have not recovered from last year, they've not been able to do the same forceful attack at that line of scrimmage. So Kevin Patullo has had to get creative in the red zone, and to his credit, he's done a tremendous job at it. Now, at the same time, you can say that Kevin Patullo and the 3 and outs that we've seen this season, one of the worst teams in the NFL at it, is a downgrade for his grade, right? It does bring him down a little bit. So Kevin Patullo will start there at 610-632-0975. Do you believe he's been fairly or unfairly criticized? I say fairly, all right? Because if there's anything that you could point to as to this could be a reason why this team gets held back, he's probably the number one name that comes up, or number one position group or whatever, because you know how I feel about the pass rush. He's probably the number one person that you're going to point to through 8 weeks of data, right? We're not talking about the next 8 weeks or 9 weeks, however many games.
Or whatever it is.
We're talking about through 8 weeks, the data that you have. He's probably been the guy that we have talked about the most and could be the biggest reason why they may not win something, despite how great he was in Week 8.
I don't think that's unfair at all. I mean, he has absolutely, in my mind, been fairly criticized because I would just compare him to other first-year coordinators that have less talent to work with, and the first-year coordinators all outperformed him through 8 weeks for the most part, unless they were dealing with terrible, terrible teams that are at the bottom of the standings. They were atrocious.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that we can also give him credit for what he does well. We can also give him credit for that Sunday it looked like it all came together. So now we hope for the best as they now self-scout. And if there's one thing I know, and I've got something on it for later in the week, Nick Sirianni and the self-scouting, it has been excellent.
Oh, absolutely.
In his tenure at them taking the bye week and using it to correct things, and not just last year.
Right.
I got some stories.
And by the way, not just for the following week that they play. It's for the remainder of the season they've made a lot of corrections.
And self-scouting, sometimes, I've been told by coaches, it sometimes is the hardest thing to do because people are up in their feelings.
Sure, absolutely.
So
Nick Sirianni does a hell of a job with that. So coming up next, Kevin Patullo, obviously is the guy that we're going to start with because he's the guy that we've talked about the most. Nick Sirianni spoke about him yesterday, about his growth through 8 weeks of his play calling career. I'm curious. I have a question for Connor Thomas, Mr. Patient over there, that I want to ask. So we'll get into that coming up next. You'll hear from Nick Sirianni. Don't worry. The Sixers will be brought up. I just have to pace myself.
Yeah, you need a little pacifier on this one.
Pace myself.
There you go.
Well, no. I'm fine. I don't need a pacifier right now. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. 14 here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. I have a question for Mr. Patience in the other room there, Johnny, that we'll get to here momentarily. But I want to play this clip for you. Nick Sirianni spoke during his day after press conference yesterday. So yesterday was his Monday availability. And once more, he was asked about his buddy, Kevin Patullo. And Patullo, again, coming off of his best performance of his career, because this is his first time ever calling plays. And this past game against the New York Giants, and no, it wasn't just because it was against the Giants. Kevin Patullo had concepts. He had interesting play calls. It was a totally different looking offense.
It's beautiful.
Than the first 6 games. And then the Vikings game was where all the plays were breaking down and Jalen Hurts was improvising and playing like damn Superman. This past game was the first time where you're going, wow, Kevin Patullo had himself a day. Here was Nick Sirianni talking about the growth of his offensive coordinator.
I think he's done a good job of continuing to get better, just like our players. I think that's regardless of every team's a new team, so there's a growth period in every, whether it's a first-time play caller or not, there's a growth period within each year for players, for the coaches, everything. And so that's what the first weeks of the season are for, is to find ways to win, find ways to get better, and really continue, be in that continual growth mindset all the way through. So you're playing your best football in November, December, January, hopefully.
Now,
okay,
it is not a lock that Kevin Patullo will have a repeat performance in Week 10, right? Like what he did in Week 8, it is not a lock. Now, maybe that was just part of the growth process. And as we have said numerous times on the show, his first 6 weeks does not mean that's who he is.
No.
It's just the learning on the job when you're trying to repeat as Super Bowl champions is not something we necessarily want.
And when you are, try going into a classroom and telling the professor, yeah, the first 6 weeks, let's just throw that out.
Right.
It's what I am in week 7. Now, by the way, I grade like that.
Sure.
I grade where I tell, if your grade severely changes in the course of the year, I'll throw some stuff down. I let kids drop grades. So I can understand that. He can't drop any grades. Every grade counts in the NFL.
But what they'll say
Every week counts.
But what they'll say is the grades are the wins, and they're 6 and 2.
Yeah, but he isn't. No, his fingerprints aren't on those wins.
Well,
that's the
his
thing.
Fingerprint was on this past.
Oh, I thought it was the most. I think his fingerprints may have been the most prominent.
So, Mr. Patient over there, Connor Thomas.
What's up?
I still can't believe that before the season started, you stood by your belief that you should be more patient with the offense with all that talent than the defense. But do you believe that this was sort of that aha moment week for Kevin Patullo, and do you believe it will continue to progress once they return from the bye week? And not like for a game or two. Like, we're talking defending Super Bowl champions. Like, let's go. Let's get back there. Do you believe it'll continue to progress?
To your two-part question, no, I don't think it was necessarily the aha moment. Yes, I do think it's going to continually progress. He has not shown me he's getting worse, which is a really important thing, because there are coaches around football that the more you watch them, the more you can see they have no idea what they're doing. He's heading in the right direction, which you can't say for everybody across the NFL on coaching staffs. Now, as far as the aha moment, you've got Green Bay and Detroit coming up out of the bye week. I don't expect you to play them the way you played the New York Giants with all the injuries they had in their secondary.
Not as effectively, but it can't go back to 3 straight 3-and-outs, right? Or 0 points in a first or second half. Like, do I expect them to score points every single quarter, every single week moving forward? No, I think that would be unfair. Today's question is who has been fairly or unfairly criticized. But the offense can't go dead against those teams,
Correct.
Both Green Bay and Detroit.
You're gonna have to score the Detroit game. You're gonna have to trade. You're gonna have to trade scores.
Yeah, that's going to be
The Green
fun.
Bay game, you may win with 24.
Yeah, right.
Like that could be a game that you don't need him to light it up. But that Detroit game, man, bet the overs now.
But it can't be against Green Bay. Like, you can't be going 3-and-out, 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 and then your defense being gassed, because that, to me, has been one of the biggest issues for this team this year. You even brought it up yesterday, the points allowed per game. I blame the offense for that, right? I don't blame the defense, because when the defense has 2 seconds to breathe, we were in Tampa, John. Like, it was literally 100 degrees. On the field, I think it was the field like temperatures were 115. And the guys they didn't have a second to stop playing.
NFL Live used a stat that I will steal about there's a metrics that Orlovsky leans on, and that as far as defenses that are helped by their offense.
Sure.
And the Eagles are in bottom 5.
Yeah. It wasn't a
The
good
Eagles
marriage.
the Eagles are in bottom 5 through 8 weeks.
But they went to couples counseling the
So-
last couple of weeks.
Yeah, so maybe they've found a way
And
to
maybe
be able to
they've
do that.
figured it out. So you can text in at 610-632-0975. We start with Patullo, but this is an open conversation for anybody that you want to point out specifically. Who has been fairly or unfairly criticized for the Philadelphia Eagles through the first half of the season as we've reached the midway point, and it is a bye week, and it's coming off of 2 straight wins. The first beatdown win against the New York Giants. Today is a stress-free Tuesday because we also get to talk about the Sixers, Johnny.
Nice win.
I can't go any
Get
longer without
excited.
talking about them. All right, I can't go any longer. I told you I have to pace myself. I will try.
Pace.
Is something special starting to form? I believe it is hard to say no after what we watched last night. It is Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
The Sixers start 3-0. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Sixers continue their hot start to the season last night, taking down the Magic 136-124. Tyrese Maxey led all scorers with 43, his second 40-point game of the young season. B.J. Edgecombe and Kelly Oubre had 26 and 25 points respectively, and Tyrese Maxey talked after the game about what head coach Nick Nurse did this offseason to make sure the team got off to a good start.
You know, we put in something, Coach Nurse put in something that's going to cater to everybody. I think he did a really good job with that. He looked at the team that we had, the guards that we had, and then we also had Big Fella and PG. So, he put in an offense that would be, good for everybody.
It certainly has seemed like a more complete effort from the Sixers through 3 games. They're back in action tonight. Their first back-to-back of the season, a 7 p.m. tip-off in Washington against the Wizards. That game will be live right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Flyers get back on the ice tonight at 6 p.m. They've got the Penguins at home. That game will be live on our sister station, WMMR. And the NFL Week 8 wrapped up last night with the Chiefs beating the Commanders 28-7. Eagles are rolling into their Week 9 bye at 6-2. Oh, by the way, is that World Series game still going on? The Dodgers take down the Blue Jays in 18 games in a classic last night. Jeff McClain of the Inquirer joins us at 8:25. Keith Pompey joins us at 8:40 for the latest on those Sixers. And Amy Fadul will be with us for the entire 9 o'clock hour. I'm Connor Thomas on your home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
It's 6:26 here on Kincade Salciunas 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm going to try to pace myself here because last night, once again, I was smiling ear to ear, John, as I put my head on the pillow after shutting off the TV, thinking about the Philadelphia 76ers and their 3-0 start to the NBA season, taking care of business against the Orlando Magic last night, Johnny, a team that will be a top 6-5 seed in the Eastern Conference, the Orlando Magic.
A team that should be a higher seed than you are. Orlando should be ahead of the Sixers.
I would not just say that so confidently. No.
Really? Okay.
I mean, it all comes down to
I'm
health,
trying to gauge,
as you know.
See, I'm trying to gauge how much 3 games changed your opinion. Because, I mean, the betting odds would tell you Orlando clearly heavily favored to be ahead of the Sixers.
Because the betting odds have to include the history of the Philadelphia 76ers, which is strong chance somebody gets hurt, right?
Or they're just not playing half the time.
Right. And Joel Embiid did not play last night, but did that matter?
No. Last night it didn't.
It did not matter last night because the Philadelphia 76ers won yet again last night. They beat the Magic 136-124. So what seemed to be a struggle against the Hornets the other night, they won impressively last night against the Orlando Magic. And once again, led by Tyrese Maxey, 43 points last night. Once again, just hitting step-back threes with hands in his face with ease. And then pump fake, dribble, pull up, bang, constantly. Because of what he has been able to work on throughout his career, 5 years now in the NBA, which is amazing. What he has been able to work on in his NBA career, it has been so hard for defenses to stop him. Oh, by the way, throw in his ability to go down the court 1,000,000 miles per hour on the break. And he now has a person to do that alongside him. VJ Edgecombe, after scoring just 15 points in Game 2 of his NBA career, Johnny, he follows up last night, 26 points. So Tyrese Maxey, 43 and 8 assists. VJ Edgecombe, 26 and 7 assists. And I'm guessing the majority of them were to one another.
And that's Embiid not on the floor, not playing.
That's Joel Embiid not on the floor. So last night, Dembona gets the start, does a solid job in 25 minutes. Credit to Kelly Oubre, who I like, and I say it all the time. I just wish he was more of an off-the-bench piece. But yesterday, because still Paul George absent, you need him in the starting lineup. That man played 40 minutes yesterday, scoring 25 points and grabbed 10 rebounds. You had contributions from guys on the starting lineup. You had contributions from Quentin Grimes, who was a great re-signing, 14 points off the bench in 26 minutes. So my question for you today at 610-632-0975 is whether or not you believe something special is starting to form. And the reason why I ask that question is because of the incredible performances by your rookie and VJ Edgecombe. But more importantly than anything else, Tyrese Maxey has so far in 3 games. All right, I'm not going to get too over ahead of myself here. Tyrese Maxey through 3 games has taken a major step forward in his NBA career. Last year, he had a lot of opportunities to be the guy because Joel Embiid and Paul George missed a lot of time. And before Maxey's injury that ended his season, he didn't necessarily play all that well. And I think the mood that circulated the locker room clearly impacted him because we did not see the smile on Tyrese Maxey that we know and love. I asked Nick Nurse about it last week on Friday, and he said, yeah, he better be happy. He scored 40 points in the opener. He dropped 43 yesterday. And again, vibes sometimes can be over-talked about or overrated, but coming off of the season that we just went through last year, where it seemed like it was over, like it seemed like the franchise was reaching an area where you needed to blow things up and move forward. And credit to Daryl Morey and the Sixers brass saying, no, we still believe something's going on with this team, especially with the Eastern Conference being somewhat open this year, which we'll talk about later on this hour. Man, it looks like a totally different Sixers team, and that's why last week we talked about the passing of the torch, John. Joel Embiid will still be a part of this team, and a major part. And there will be nights where it's going to be his number called and in the half-court offense. But this team's ability to go, as Nick Nurse said last week, you can't ignore how different this team looks.
No, it's exciting. And I do wonder, though, how it all comes together when you have Joel Embiid as part of it. And then you have to remember, you got another guy that they're not going to park on the bench in Paul George.
Right.
how does Paul George screw this up? And I'm not trying to be flippant, but it's like, how does Paul George fit with what they're doing? Like, is this all going to slow down? Because you scoff at it, and I think there are many more people that feel the way I do. Sixers basketball with Joel Embiid was many, many times, it was plodding. It was slow. It was not high-flying, entertaining, run up and down the floor. This is like get your popcorn ready type of basketball. You might want to watch Joel Embiid, who's a great player.
Sure.
But the game style of play was not. This is exciting, and I wonder how it all fits. I'm thrilled with what I'm seeing, but I'm almost like, okay, we know they're going to play Paul George a lot for what they're paying him. We know that they got to incorporate Embiid into whatever they're doing. How is it going to affect the way things are looking early? And it should benefit it. The Embiid thing should benefit them. Paul George, I don't know how it benefits.
Yeah, I mean, look, Paul George.
Because you know they're going to play him, and they're going to play him major minutes.
Paul George can play on the wing, put him in the corner. He can hit threes. He still plays good defense, right? Even at his age,
No, he does.
Paul George is a very good defensive player. It's just, again, does the team realize it that there's the passing of the torch? I wanted to save this for later on the show, but we're having the conversation now. On Saturday, when the Sixers beat the Hornets, Joel Embiid had a great moment in his press conference where a reporter was very candid and said, hey, the team has been playing better when you have not been on the court, right?
Which wasn't flippant. The guy wasn't trying to do a gotcha moment.
No, he's just
saying it's the truth.
Through 2 games, the plus minus, right? Like, it's there. It's fact. It's statistics. It's there. Joel Embiid had such a great answer where when you bring up how does it work when Embiid's playing fully, not just the 20 minutes restrictions, I think this answer here just sort of tells you where he is at mentally.
The team is playing better when you're not playing, which was a big problem last year, obviously.
It's been 12 years, so I'll take it. It's been. Just gotta keep it going. Obviously, the most important games are, the best teams and the playoffs. If that's the effort we're gonna have, when I'm not on the floor. Amen. It's been a long time.
Amen.
That is such a great answer by Joel Embiid.
And at the beginning, the laughing, he literally put his hands together and looked up to the skies.
They weren't laughing at him.
No, they were
laughing with him.
It was a great response.
Because you know what he does? Unlike some other stars in this town, that could be taken as a slam. That could be taken as a criticism.
Sure.
And Joel Embiid embraced it and acknowledged it for what everybody sees. This team looks really, really good right off the bat, and Joel says all the right things and is a supportive teammate and acknowledges what we're all seeing and doesn't act like we don't know basketball. I love that, and to me, that's an endearing Joel Embiid.
No, it absolutely is.
That's a completely endearing moment because a lot of stars would have shut down that question immediately and been like, really, dude?
Yeah. Like,
Are you
no,
kidding
it's
me?
still my team.
Yeah, this is my
Whereas
team.
Joel Embiid goes, it's been 12 years. Like, I'm excited to have some help. And now that question was specifically when he is on or off the court. But when he's on the court, you don't have to just continuously rely on him to be the guy. Because let's face it, you think it's boring. I think it was necessary. Like, it needed to happen.
Wait a minute. That don't spin it any other way. I'm not saying it wasn't necessary. That's what they had to do.
Right.
But the style of play was boring as hell to me. Like that, well, we're watching that. It was never Western Conference basketball.
Right.
And I would say to me, Western Conference playoffs, to me, is like the best time to watch the NBA. Watching a Western Conference series where they're running and gunning and up and down. And to me, the Sixers never gave me that. There's a chance they're going to give it to us now.
So our question, 610-632-0975, when it comes to the Sixers. Oh, I got to pace myself.
Yeah, just pay. But no, you handled that well.
Is
You didn't go
something
over the top.
special starting to form?
Could be.
And to me, the biggest reason why I say yes is because Tyrese Maxey has taken that next step forward. I have been, I don't want to say critical of Tyrese Maxey, just not a believer that if he was the guy, unless Joel Embiid was still playing at a high level, that they would be able to take that next step forward. But he's been playing so well. And last night, 43 points again, 136-124 win over the Magic. Maxey's averaging 37 points and just under 8 assists so far in this early 2025 campaign for the Sixers.
That's wild.
We'll check our text line for the first time coming up next, both Eagles and Sixers related. But also, if the Sixers were to win something this year, it has to happen this year. And I'll tell you why next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
The Dunks.
Here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Trying to pace myself with the Philadelphia 76ers. I can't help but get so damn excited after a 3-0 start and that win over the Orlando Magic, and Tyrese Maxey taking that next step forward. And they're back in action tonight, right? Quick turnaround, back in action tonight. JoJo should be on the court. He did not play yesterday.
Well, I would hope so.
So, we'll see how this continues to progress. Can this team continue to play where it's the young guys, and I'll include Tyrese Maxey in the young guys conversation, but
What's he, 24?
maybe I should say the guards.
What's he, 24? Maybe?
What is his actual age?
What's Maxey?
Let me
He's
see.
either 24 or 25.
Because he
I
came
don't
out
think he's
after
20.
1
I don't
year.
think he's 25 yet.
He's 24.
He's 24.
Yeah, 24
I
years
mean, he's
old.
a youngster. You can absolutely use him amongst the young guys.
I'll say the guard play, right? With Maxey,
Right.
with Edgecombe. Let's throw in Quentin Grimes, who again played a nice role off the bench for you yesterday and has been so far this season. And let's include eventually Jared McCain when he makes his return. When we had Nick Nurse on last week, I asked him straight up, hey, how do you balance, the run and gun style that you had in game 1 and knowing that you're going to have to get Embiid his, right, in the half court? And he didn't hesitate, John. Like, he said, look.
No.
Yeah, we're going to get Joel Embiid involved, but we don't want it to be a predictable offense where it's just Embiid going through Embiid in the half court. If these guys can go, we're going to go. And I love that Nick Nurse did not run from that. And again, credit to Joel Embiid for seemingly so far being totally fine with it.
I like hearing him say it.
Yes.
Now I need to see it put into practice. And I believe Joel Embiid at face value when he says it.
I do too.
Now, hopefully he doesn't go the A.J. Brown route, where if they start winning and they're winning with the youngsters and he's not as big a part of things, that he gets grumpy and going, well, maybe I should go somewhere else if I'm not going to be a big part of things. I don't see that in Joel Embiid.
No, because he doesn't
I don't think he's going to be that way.
He doesn't tweet like that either.
I don't think he's going to be that way.
He tweets about the World Series.
Yeah, I love that he was up at 3 in the morning.
So in case people don't know, and if you're just tuning in, the World Series Game 3 ended 3 hours ago.
3:12 in the morning, I believe it was over, something like that.
18 innings.
That's
the
incredible.
Blue Jays and Dodgers played in Los Angeles. Freddie Freeman walks it off with a home run in the bottom of the 18th inning. Shohei Ohtani got on base 9 times yesterday.
That's incredible.
He went 4 for 4, hitting 2 home runs, and they walked him 5 times.
Well, in extra, you're not going to give him a chance to end the game on a walk-off.
No.
So they kept saying, we're not going to let him beat us.
Put him on, yeah.
By the way, Freddie Freeman asked, could he please stop comparing Bryce Harper to him in the postseason? Could he, could you have any comparison?
I hear you.
Freddie Freeman at 35, by the way, who last year at 34 was dominating the Major League Baseball postseason, doing it again.
The Dodgers used 10 pitchers last night. The Blue Jays, 6, 7, 8, 9, used 9 pitchers last night. They play Game 4 today.
Most pitchers ever used in a World Series game. First time any teams used 10.
Unbelievable. Meanwhile, again, Joel Embiid puts out a tweet at 2:48 in the morning. I have a game tomorrow. Let's end this. This is a great game. And then he puts out a tweet 3 minutes later. OMG, let's freaking go, Freddie. So Joel Embiid live tweeting during Game 3 of the World Series. Hopefully he's energized
After the travel,
for tonight's game.
They were flying past Wells Fargo Center at 11:37 at night.
Okay.
So the plane was just taken off and leaving. So they're going past Wells Fargo Center at 11:37 at night. So they didn't land till a really reasonable hour. I still think get on a bus.
Yeah.
Get everybody on luxury liners, get them on a bus and be on your way. They would have been able to make it even faster than that.
All right, Connor, what do we got on the text line? I want to hear from the people. I know you said we have an Eagles text, and it's all Sixers. So give me the Sixers. Give me the excitement, because that's what today is all about. It's a great Tuesday where we're following 2 straight Eagles wins, going into a bye week, stress-free, thankfully.
Yes.
And the Sixers have started the season 3-0, and the guys that I believe said it on Thursday morning, follow the Wednesday night game. I believe we saw a passing of the torch, and you saw Tyrese Maxey once again lead this team to victory yesterday. What do we got on the text line?
People are actually being really tempered in their reaction to the Sixers so far, which is a good thing considering we're 3 games in. Paul from Malvern leads us off and says, yes, something special is forming. Reminds me of the year we went to the finals when we started 10-0. We can win without the big fella. This time has heart. Better grease the poles in June. Let's not forget about Jared McCain, too.
That's very tempered. And I did not forget about Jared McCain. Just brought him up a few minutes ago.
Here's what I'm going to say to you, though. As far as the whole passing of the torch, this is where we do part ways on this one. You can't pass the torch till Paul George and Joel Embiid are back as full contributors, because you have to see that these two are going to fit in and that they're going to be willing to fit in to what it is. I fully believe Embiid will do whatever it takes to be a part of whatever they've got cooking. I have no doubt. Paul George, I think it could be an issue.
All right, I'll just say this. With all due respect to the man yesterday, I'm taking Paul George over Jabari Walker in my starting lineup like any night.
Easy.
No, you certainly are.
You know what I mean?
You certainly are, but I think you are. You're still going to have to. How they all fit in, there can't be a passing of the torch until till Paul George is gone, honestly. Because he's going to be taking minutes from guys.
I will say, though, well, who's he taking minutes from?
Dominic Barlow?
Yeah, like, you know.
And no, but
he's your starting
but how
forward.
does he fit?
Well, here's the thing.
How does he fit?
Last year, in his limited time playing, because it wasn't all that much.
Very limited.
He was not ball dominant. It's not like he was demanding the ball and needing the ball in his hands because it started with Embiid. And, again, it's not like he had many chances to play last year.
That is correct.
It was still Maxey. The ball was in Maxey's hand. On the nights when Embiid didn't play and Paul George was out there, it's not like it was the Paul George show. It was Tyrese. We were complaining about the lack of production from Paul George last year. We were saying that, hey, we're paying you all this money. How come you're not trying to step up here? So
do a little bit more. But I mean, this is the passing of the torch to me, though, has to come from when we see all of the team full complement together and how it works.
Okay.
Because to me, I don't see but I'm not the hoops head that you are. I do not see how Paul George works with this group. Like, I think with what they're going to try to accomplish, I think that it's going to just change the game.
He's going to play the exact same role as Tobias Harris. Put him in the corner, dunker spot at times, move him around, and then you ask him to play defense, which, to Tobias Harris's credit, I was very critical of Toby.
Right.
Tobias Harris they normally had him on the number one.
He would
scorer on the opposing team.
And you never questioned that there was the effort.
It was always.
You never
there.
questioned the effort.
It was always there.
Right, exactly.
It was just he drove me nuts at times, but the effort was always there, and
I think
that might be what Paul George does.
I think the money that was attached to him,
big part of it,
really attached to it too.
Part of it.
Well, the same thing would go with Paul George.
Yeah, no, I got you. Now, if the Sixers were to win this year, Sixers were to win, it has to happen this year, because the Eastern Conference. If you just look around, I know it's only 3 games. You look around, you knew the Celtics and Pacers were going to take a step back this year because of the Jason Tatum injury and the Tyrese Halliburton injury, right? It's a shame to those organizations that those things took place.
You get them hampered.
Yes.
You're catching them hampered.
Like the Cavaliers, I believe, the Cavs and Knicks, I believe, will be your top 2 seeds in the Eastern Conference. Whether, I don't know which one will be 1, which one will be 2. But those 2 teams will be your top 2 seeds. And unless there's like a major injury to one of those 2 teams, I don't think there's a debate.
Okay.
Like, I think it's Cavs, Knicks will be 1 and 2. One of them will be 1. One of them will be 2. After that, you asked me about the Magic. Like
you don't think the Magic are going to be ahead of the Sixers? Over 82 games?
I think they can be, but I don't think it's like a surefire thing. I think there are 2 teams that I say, yes, they will be 1 and 2 in the conference. And then 3 through 8, because I don't count 9 and 10. 3 through 8.
Yeah, because they're not actually in the playoffs.
Could be a crapshoot. The Bucks still do have Giannis. It's just that team.
They do.
That team's built so weird.
Correct.
And I don't know how they're going to look over the course of 82 games, but they still have Giannis. So, would you be surprised if Giannis carried the team to the 3 seed? I wouldn't be shocked by that.
I would not.
So, who knows? But the Eastern Conference is open this year. Now's the time to strike. There's been a couple of chances over the years, like losing a series to the Hawks, but now's the time to strike.
This has got to be the year.
It has to be. It has to be. Coming up next, check more of your text messages. Excitement on the Sixers. Is something special starting to form? 610-632-0975. Now, also, our Eagles discussion about who has been fairly or unfairly criticized. Has anyone escaped criticism so far this season for the Eagles? John Kincaid's looking toward the top. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Another big night for Maxey. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Sixers continued their hot start of the season last night, taking down the Magic 136-124. Tyrese Maxey led all scorers with 43, his second 40-point game of the season so far. BJ Edgecombe, 26. Kelly Oubre, 25 points. And Maxey talked after the game about the rookie, BJ Edgecombe, and his start to the season.
I mean, for how he's playing, he's playing extremely aggressive. Only had 2 turnovers tonight. Has the ball in his hands a lot. We all trust him. You got to keep playing that way. But, yeah, his defense has been great. great. His patience has been great, and he scored the ball at a high level.
Sixers are back in action tonight at 7 p.m. down in Washington against the Wizards. That game live here on the Fanatic. Flyers play the Penguins 6 p.m. at home. That game on our sister station, WMMR. NFL Week 8 wrapped up last night. Chiefs took down the Commanders on Monday Night Football. Eagles roll into the bye at 6-2. And what a World Series game last night. Dodgers beat the Blue Jays 6-5 in 18 innings. A walk-off homer from Freddie Freeman. Dodgers lead that series 2-1. Jeff McClain joins us coming up at 8:25. Keith Pompey will join us at 8:40. And Amy Fadul joins us for the entire 9 o'clock hour. This update is brought to you by Macy's Backstage. It's a whole department inside your Macy's store where you can find the looks all for under $30. With new arrivals every day, you never know what you'll find. Find a location at Macy'sBackstage.com. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5 The Fanatic.
Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. Real quick, I just, our thoughts and our prayers and all of our thoughts are going toward Jamaica right now. I know that hits home to you guys and your family, Johnny.
Yeah, they moved everybody. We have all the families accounted for pre-storm, so hopefully it'll go well. And they're in a good circumstance, so they should be able to at least be in the safest spot possible.
Yeah.
This is going to be the worst storm ever to hit the island.
Category 5, the video of the plane that they were able to fly through the swirl,
sure, the eye of the storm,
getting into the eye of the storm. It's one of the most amazing videos that I have seen in my life. If you have not watched it yet, you get to see, like, clear as day what the inside of the hurricane looks like and how big this one is, which is scarier knowing what damage it's going to eventually create in Jamaica.
It's going to be catastrophic.
It's going to be bad.
It's catastrophic.
Yeah. So
and hopefully everybody will be all right. And the communication's been cut off, though. Like, our family group chat with my Jamaican relatives is they're not. None of them are communicating.
And it hasn't even technically hit.
It hasn't hit yet.
Land
But you got to understand is Kingston, where they're located mostly, which is the banking capital, is and it's going to get a good right side hit of it.
Yeah.
It's third world.
Yeah, it's going to.
It's a third world. Jamaica's a third world country, even though we all visit it and we all love it. It's a third world country,
right? And
so it's completely different.
It's a shame what is eventually going to come way of Jamaica. Oof. So it's horrible. So our thoughts and prayers go out to them. All right, let's give us another text message. The excitement of the Sixers. Our question for you is something special starting to form. But our main topic that we started the show off with about an hour ago, when it comes to the Eagles, have we reached that midway point and we've reached the bye? Who has been fairly or unfairly criticized? And to start the 7 o'clock hour, John Kincade may say that somebody's escaped criticism so far. What do we got, Connor?
So this texter checks in on the Sixers and says the only thing special you're seeing is the backcourt of the future right now. But John's right. When Joel Embiid and Paul George play, the game will change. And I think personally it'll change for the worst because of exactly what John said. They're going to slow down.
Well, hold on a second. First off, we don't know that, but there will be times. Okay. There will be times where they will, right? And Joel Embiid, I'm going to assume, when the leg is ramped up, can look like somewhat of his previous self, which is still very dangerous. And, oh, by the way, to Joel Embiid's credit, the last 2 seasons when he's played, his facilitating has gotten much better.
And more importantly, we know that Joel Embiid is a willing participant in wanting this team to get better. Everybody close to the team, everything we've observed publicly, he's about this team getting better around him.
And he can actually now facilitate to players. Like, guys, there was a time where Furkan Korkmaz was the best three-point shooter on this basketball team. Right?
And Connor believed in him.
Matisse Thybulle, that couldn't hit the backboard sometimes, was a starter on this team. We overvalued Rocco just because he was one of the process guys, right? Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe can do things now, and Joel Embiid can distribute the ball to them. Now, what was the beginning part of that text? The only thing to be excited about?
Yeah, is the backcourt of the future.
All right, let's not be spoiled here. Like, yes, I'm very excited of the backcourt.
No,
by the way,
this is an early. If this is like the early opening, you get invited to like the premiere night. The restaurant's opening on Friday, but we get to go to dinner like Wednesday or Thursday
To say
this
only,
is a hell of a,
to say only, like, yo, dude, like, now this is great because you have Maxey, you have Edgecombe. By the way, you have Jared McCain, and then I don't know what the future is for Quentin Grimes, right? They figured out a way to get him back for a season. I don't know what his long-term plans are going to be with the Philadelphia 76ers, but you have multiple options with the backcourt, and then you just see how some of these other younger guys, like a Justin Edwards, even though he's not been a main focus so far for the Sixers, you have younger guys that Nick Nurse is going to try to integrate into this team.
Sure.
And it's been fun so far.
There's nothing I hate worse in the fan base than in this fan base, there's a lot of it, than the, pump the brakes. Don't be too excited. You got to get excited for what you can consume, but keep it in perspective. If you're not excited about the Sixers 3-0 start, you're just trying to be contrary.
Yeah.
You're just trying to be a wet blanket because there's a lot to be excited about. If you're making proclamations about what 3-0 means, I agree with
Right,
you.
I'm not saying they're winning the title.
And you are not doing
Larry
it.
O'Brien.
And you're
We're
not
in.
doing that. But it's the idea is that there's people who are going to try to present it that way. That's not what you're saying.
No.
It's just saying about let's be excited because there's every reason to be excited.
By the way, you mentioned the Larry O'Brien as you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, BZ Media Group Station broadcast live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. I don't know why they went away from it, but they're bringing the Larry O'Brien back to the court this year, the center court.
So they are.
During the NBA
Oh,
Finals.
not the stupid CGI one they tried to do last year?
Yeah, because people ripped them for it. No, they're Adam Silver's trying to say, hey, ignore the gambling thing. We're bringing back the Larry O'Brien trophy on center court. All right. Has Howie Roseman escaped criticism in your mind, John Kincade?
I'm going to just ask you this. If we're talking about in this evaluation today of our conversation is who has escaped criticism this year and who hasn't? Howie Roseman won a Super Bowl in February, and it was glorious.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely amazing. But did Howie Roseman have a good offseason? Isaiah Rodgers walks for a very, very viable contract that the Eagles could have afforded.
Yeah, and you're going to say, like, you're not going to mention Josh Sweat and Milton Williams.
No. Josh Sweat and Milton Williams aren't even on the
those guys got paid
they're going.
buku bucks.
Isaiah Rodgers could have been here, or Darius Slay could have been here.
Sure.
One of the two of them, in my opinion, we can confidently say should have stayed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
and this
absolutely.
This team would be better.
Because Slay signed pretty early with Pittsburgh.
Correct.
And
well,
I
they
think
told him you're gone.
We all thought. I still remember we were on the air. Like,
right.
when Slay signed with Pittsburgh, you're like, all right, so they're going to bring back Isaiah Rodgers. That was the decision they made.
And then we thought that was it.
And then he goes to Minnesota.
Now, let's go down the list. Mekhi Becton signs for 2 years, $20 million. 2 years, $20 million. The offensive line clearly misses Becton this year.
Now, the one
he was a fantastic performer.
The one thing I will say, that one made more sense than Keely Ringo because they had Tyler Steen, third-round pick.
Okay.
And when he had to play last year, he was okay, right? It's not like.
And by the way, I am not in any way trying to cast aspersions on Tyler Steen. I think Tyler Steen has done.
He's actually played well.
He's done well. He has not played as well as Becton did last year.
Right, but that one, still to this day, I go, all right, that one made more sense than cornerback 2. I am still astonished that Howie was like, we don't need any of these guys.
You let a swing tackle walk away for pennies to Jacksonville. There was no reason Fred Johnson should have been allowed to walk away. Not for what he signed with in Jacksonville. And then you had to give up draft capital to trade to get him back. That is a miss by every parameter. That's a miss. And not just because Fred Johnson knows a great place to vacation in Jamaica that we're all praying for today. You borderline devastated over the potential of Dallas Goedert leaving.
Yep.
You hem and haw, wait till the last minute. You bring back Dallas Goedert. You don't address tight end. So you don't address tight end.
That was the most egregious part that you – and still – Dallas Goedert might be gone after this year. You still don't have his eventual replacement.
And now Dallas Goedert's going to be in line to get paid huge. Like, he's going to get a 2 or 3 year deal. He's going to get a 3-year deal big from somebody at the end of this year. And the Eagles may end up having to pay it to him much, much larger on the dollar than they could have paid him last year. So these are just the first ones on my list. It seems like Howie Roseman won a Super Bowl, and he's been chasing fixes ever since we got to training camp, chasing things to fix problems that were not addressed. To me, Howie, who is a great general manager, arguably the best in his sport, who manages a cap amazingly well, a lot of the calculated decisions he made in this offseason, and I just listed off a bunch of them, have obviously not worked.
Now, here's where I'll push back, and I'm not sitting here just trying to defend Howie Roseman. So, again, cornerback 2, I thought that was egregious.
And we did it from the beginning.
I never believed that Keely Ringo was in the incubator, as I saw a lot on social media this offseason. I'm like, hold on a second. He was passed up on numerous times when Darius Slay would get hurt, right? I just talked about Steen. The Dallas Goedert thing, all right?
And by the way, I understood the Dallas Goedert thing.
Right.
As long as you were addressing Dallas Goedert in the draft.
Right, which they didn't.
Which they did not do, and they did not get somebody in here. So to me, you created a problem that you didn't need to have. Like, to me, it's crazy.
But you weren't, if it came out, just try to think about April, right, or March or whatever.
All right.
It came out the Eagles and Dallas Goedert have reworked a deal 2 years. You probably would have been like, 2 years?
No, I would have been fine to have him back for 2 years because the window is repeat as Super Bowl champions.
I wouldn't have. I mean, we were talking about injury issues. We were talking about lack of production. We can't go with the 7 touchdowns he scored this year, considering the stats that we've seen from him consistently.
No, but the only thing is I'm fine, Connor, and your point's incredibly valid. And I would have been right there with you side by side. And in many discussions about it, I was. But I assumed that the Eagles were going to address it.
Right. We're just talking about the Goddard contract.
And they didn't address it. So then you end up having to pay him more. You end up paying more at the position than you could have. I don't think it was a good offseason for Howie. By any metrics. Is that a good offseason?
So coming up next, let me ask you a question. Was it somewhat of a necessary offseason for Howie?
Because the big moves, yes. These?
Because some of it does play a factor about the future. So we'll get into that coming up next. We'll check more of our Sixers texts and calls. Because I know people are excited this morning for the Sixers. I can't wait.
I know Karate Mark's bouncing off the walls.
Want to hear from you at 610-632-0975. Do you believe something special is forming for the Sixers? And the Eagles are 6-2. They're also alone in the NFC East. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. It is 7:11 here on this Tuesday morning. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. It is a busy Tuesday. We have Amy Fadul in with us today for the entire 9 o'clock hour. I can't wait to talk about the Sixers with Amy because, look, last year, the season goes on, right, for pre- and post-game live on NBC Sports Philadelphia. So when the Sixers were having the season they were having last year, pre- and post-game live continues. It doesn't just stop.
And you have to create the content. You have to create the excitement.
So I can only imagine that maybe it's been a little bit more fun. I don't want to speak for Amy because I know she loves her job, but I would imagine it's been a little bit more fun through 3 games talking about the Sixers on NBC Sports Philadelphia than maybe all of last year. Sixers 3-0 after beating the Magic last night, 136-124.
I did radio and television pre-post between periods for an expansion hockey team.
Oh, I can only imagine. That was
won
a good
14.
time.
That won 14 games. In 1999, so 2000. So I can definitely. But an expansion team, though, you're thinking it's the first year. You're having all the excitement.
Yeah.
It's different. Last year was murder.
Oh, no.
For Amy and them, and they did a great job of creating some sort of energy about it.
Because you had somewhat of expectations last year going into the year until everybody got hurt. All right, Howie Roseman's offseason. How much of it was necessary, though? Right now, I understand that.
What was necessary? Let's go quickly in the things. Was letting Isaiah Rodgers and Darius Slay necessary?
No, I don't believe letting them both go
was letting Mekhi Becton leave necessary when he got 2 years, $20 million?
To me, it made more sense because you had Tyler Steen already on the roster.
I'm going to ask you the word, though.
And he's much cheaper.
Necessary.
Well, when you look at the rest of the cap, yeah.
Okay. Well, then, but you didn't use the cap well. Then you like Fred Johnson walking away.
Yeah, no, that was
quality, a dominant. Really, for a swing tackle that's a backup, he's dominant.
I'm gonna guess if you asked Howie, and obviously Fred Johnson does not normally come up in most press conferences with Howie Roseman.
No, it doesn't.
He'll probably say we liked the guys that we had in the room because they drafted a couple tackles that one got hurt in camp, right? I forget who it was. Somebody got hurt in camp, one of their later round draft picks. So maybe.
Did you just solve the mystery right there? Did you just break the code? What? Drafted. It's the idea of you're going, nah, we're going to give a guy that we drafted the chance because we're trying to. And also you're trying to look right. Like you got it right. You make decisions sometimes as a general manager going, we're going to do something because it's going to justify what we did and what we spent.
But
and you know they do this.
But sometimes you can also say, hey, you know what? We were right to draft Jordan Mailata despite us drafting Andre Dillard in the same draft.
I got you.
And we ended up playing Jordan Mailata because he was the better player.
But to have to go and buy back a player that you had in-house.
Oh, no, that was bad.
Who signed for pennies?
Also, I don't think the drafted versus non-drafted thing works in the Fred Johnson case. He was an undrafted free agent, which would argue that's a better find, not wasting a draft pick.
Right, that's why I mentioned the
but you're not going to have
thing.
But getting the undrafted guy and then replacing a drafted guy with him. Like having a drafted guy gets supplanted by an undrafted guy, that's not a win in your win column.
Howie doesn't strike me as anyone who needs a win in a win column right now. Yeah, after Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell.
He used to. This is one of the things that I celebrate Howie's sort of turning of the page of being I'm the smartest man in the room. I used to say on these airwaves that Howie Roseman suffered from smartest man in the room syndrome.
Okay. And everybody in talk radio, we all have too, from time to time.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is good.
That's true. Like there were times when Alshon Jeffrey was on the last year of his deal, and he missed a lot of time, and then he's back from injury. And remember, Travis Fulgham. Remember Pat was a big. I saw a Fulgham jersey Sunday.
No, you didn't.
At a tailgate.
You didn't.
I took a picture. I'll show
You're
it to you
kidding me.
Like Fulgham was playing really well. But Alshon was back and it was like, hey, we paid this guy a lot of money. We got to put that guy on the field again. Which you're like, well, why? Same with Jason Peters.
I got you.
Jason Peters, the guy couldn't stay on the freaking field, but because they paid him all the money, they had to put him out there. They don't do that anymore. Howie doesn't do that anymore. Nick Sirianni doesn't do that anymore. Maybe having Vic Fangio around helps a little bit.
I'll give you that.
You paid Bryce Huff all that money? I don't give a damn. Brandon Graham is playing better. He's going to be on the field.
Well, does Howie do that, or does Vic Fangio not do that?
No, but I think Howie used to have a much heavier hand in terms of game day decisions.
They made promises to Vic Fangio.
Yeah.
And I think they said to Vic Fangio, we're not going to overrule you.
And you know what?
And it works. By the way, it's
Years
beautiful.
ago, Howie Roseman is not making those promises.
I give him all the credit in the world for doing that, but that is, honest is, over the years, Howie Roseman has absolutely made decisions based on, I'm going to give the guy that I drafted the opportunity to try to prove me right.
But he's
by the way,
also
he's
said-
not alone in that.
No,
not alone in
absolutely
that.
not.
General managers do that all over the
my
sport.
God, yeah.
So I'm not saying that he's the only one doing this, but there's no, like, Connor, you sound like you almost want to defend this offseason.
Absolutely, I do.
Okay, to explain any of the moves, but just keep it to the moves that I've discussed.
What did Howie Roseman do wrong this year? Letting people walk out the door that he could have paid? What did Howie Roseman do wrong the last time this team won the Super Bowl? Paying guys he should have let walk out the door.
Okay, but but we know now you shouldn't have let Isaiah Rodgers walk or Slay. You would absolutely have a completely different back end of your defense if you had either one of those guys. And by the way, Slay, a guy who just is playing, and he's almost situational now with the Steelers. He's a guy that the Steelers love having.
Yeah.
And they're bragging about having Slay there for the leadership, for what he's done for their room.
Yeah, your number one goal is to be right. Your number two goal is to be wrong in the right direction. And Howie Roseman this offseason, based on what we learned post-17-18, I think he was wrong in the right direction.
Okay, but he was wrong.
Yeah, yes. But
So we just get to it. He did not have a good offseason.
He was not going to sign Isaiah Rodgers to like a 5-year, $60 million
but Isaiah
contract,
Rodgers
right?
didn't get that.
No, I know.
You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying to Connor. Like,
he didn't get that
right,
contract.
the market is the market, right? So I know what you're saying with the thank you contracts. I was very critical of Howie after the Super Bowl 52, and I was wrong about one of them. I was very upset with the Brandon Graham contract, right? Like, I was like, what do you guys do?
And now he's still playing.
Yeah, now he's still playing.
By the way.
Yeah, hey, hand raise. I'm not afraid. I'm never afraid to admit when
I'll
I'm
raise
wrong.
my hand. I thought that it was a little much.
But, like, there were a lot of players that he gave thank you contracts to. And the problem is with this year, it wasn't thank you contracts. It was going rate contracts. Like, Isaiah Rodgers got $15 million from the Vikings.
That could easily,
that's
easily, he misjudged the market, Connor.
Yeah, well, it's not the thank you contracts, but you still had to clear room for the young players that are coming. We knew this heading into the offseason. You let some guys go that you probably shouldn't have. Cornerback 2, inexcusable. But that's the only one I'm really looking at where I say there's no justification.
Yeah, that one's the most damning.
That's the one that's the most damning. But honestly, the domino effect of that move, it's huge. It's been huge.
Yeah.
It's been a problem.
All right, hit us with a text message on the Sixers, and then I want to get to some. I see my man Stan from Drexel. I know he wants to talk about the Sixers. What do we got? What do we got on the text line?
Bill in Harleysville checks in, says, I'm not going to change expectations as I didn't have any coming into the season. That being said, it's really nice to have a desire to watch the Sixers again. I've already watched more hoops this season than all of last year.
All right, so remember, after night one, I asked the question, for those of you who opted out of watching game one, like, you made the conscious decision. It's not like you had plans. You're at your house and you go, you know what? I just can't put myself through it. I asked that question, and I want to know how many more people are starting to say, you know what? I got to check this out, man. Who's this VJ Edgecombe kid that's taking the league by storm? And, oh, by the way, Tyrese Maxey. Another 40
You got to
spot
say it again.
last night.
Maxey.
Tyrese Maxey. Yeah. Matt Cord's probably having a good time, too. You can text it. You can call in 610-632-0975. We'll run through a bunch of Sixers reaction. Is something special starting to form with the Sixers? Again, they did it last night without Joel Embiid. They did it with the young guys, Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe, the future of the Philadelphia 76ers. Also, Jalen Hurts and some historic Eagles numbers, but also league-wide numbers.
Whoa.
It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Sixers win again. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Sixers continued their hot start to their season last night, taking down the Magic 136-124. Tyrese Maxey led all scorers, 43 points in the game, his second 40-piece of the season. VJ Edgecombe had 26. Kelly Oubre had 25, so a strong team effort from the Sixers. And Tyrese Maxey talked after the game about what Nick Nurse has done to put the team in that position.
You know, we put in something, Coach Nurse put in something that's going to cater to everybody. I think he did a really good job with that. He looked at the team that we had, the guards that we had, and then we also had Big Fella and PG. So, like, he put in an offense that would be, good for everybody.
That audio courtesy of NBC Sports Philadelphia. Sixers back in action tonight, 7 p.m. in Washington against the Wizards. That game live here on the Fanatic. Flyers are back on the ice at 6 p.m. tonight. They've got the Penguins at home. That game on WMMR. And the NFL Week 8 wrapped up last night. Chiefs took down the Commanders Monday Night Football. Birds 6-2 heading into their Week 9 bye. Oh, if you missed the World Series game last night, it was a long one. Dodgers beat the Blue Jays 6-5 in 18 innings. Dodgers lead that series 2-1. Jeff McQuaid of the Inquirer joins us at 8:25. Keith Pompey at 8:40. Amy Fadul joins us for the entire 9 o'clock hour. This update's brought to you by AutoZone. Get in the zone. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help troubleshoot the likely cause of your pesky check engine light for free and get you back on the road. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone with AutoZone. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, the Fanatic. Eagles 6-2 heading into the bye week after their first dominant win of the season. And the Sixers start the season out 3-0, beating the Magic last night. It's a very good win, and they do it without Joel Embiid. First game of a back-to-back. Embiid should be able to play tonight. Tyrese Maxey, 43 points last night, leading the charge. We'll get back to our texts and calls here momentarily, and I have some historic numbers for Jalen Hurts to give you. But here was Tyrese Maxey after the game on NBC Sports Philadelphia with Kate and Ala talking about the difference between this year and last.
Max, tell me the difference between this year and last year.
I think this year, we game planned, for everybody. Like as far as like for our team starting out from day one, we put in something. Coach Nurse put in something that's going to cater to everybody. I think he did a really good job with that. He looked at the team that we had, the guards that we had, and then we also had big fella and PG. So he put in an offense that would be, good for everybody. Joel can play any type of offense. So I think he did a really good job with that. And the guys are really competing, man. It's a lot of competitors on this team. Yeah, every single day in training camp, we was out there fighting and clawing and, beating each other up. So we're glad to go get some different competition.
You know what's important for him to say, as you heard the song in the background, made me smile. When he talks about Coach put in a game plan for everybody, I wonder if last year was such a freaking culture shock for Nick Nurse when everybody was just dropping like flies.
I'm sure it's a challenge. He's a guy who likes to, first of all, Nick Nurse is the guy who you begged for after Doc Rivers because is a guy that plays everybody.
I forget which player from the Sixers last year called him a mad scientist.
Well, he plays everybody. Remember they were showing him down the shore this summer, and I said, I guarantee you he's got that freaking iPad.
Oh, yeah.
That he walks around with. I guarantee he's looking at stuff laying under a beach
He's not
chair.
afraid to empty the bench, right? He's not afraid to use a bunch of guys.
And we begged for that.
But when Maxey's talking about it's playing for everybody, there is a reason why. And I've ripped Brett Brown for this.
Okay.
And I've ripped Doc Rivers for this. Every time Embiid went off the court, obviously Embiid is that good that there is going to be a fall off. But what they would do was, hey, we're going to run the exact same offense, though. We're still going to have the five at the top of the key and do a dribble handoff. Whether it's Tony Bradley, Andre Drummond, Rashawn Holmes, we're going to try to just sort of recreate what we do with Embiid with the backup big. You can't do that. There's a reason why Embiid is, an MVP candidate or once was an MVP candidate. There's a reason why there's a fall off from Embiid to the backup five. You can't just run the exact same thing. Whereas it looks like Nick Nurse is saying, okay, we have these young explosive guards. We'll go if we can. We will grab a rebound and push it down court. If it does get to the half court, what can we do when Joel Embiid's on the court? What can we do when Joel Embiid is not on the court? And Joel Embiid has not been on the court more often than not this year. He did not play yesterday, and he's played 20 minutes in both of the first two games. So that's 22 other minutes that they've had to figure out an offense without Joel Embiid on the court, and it's looked pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's looked really good. And I trust Nick Nurse that this is exactly what he was brought here to do. What I'm baffled at is, man, there's been a lot of talent accumulated.
Yeah.
Under Daryl Morey's watch.
Well, and that's why
There's been a lot of talent
scoffed at people who scoffed at me for calling him a bright mind. Daryl Morey's starting to put together a pretty decent roster. One of those young players, VJ Edgecombe. Here was Maxey talking about VJ.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah, he's pretty good, man. He's, we got 2 number 3 picks on our team that are really good at basketball. So that's good. Those guys went high in the draft, so they're supposed to be good, right?
That's a big.
I like that.
That's a big FU to 20 other teams in the NBA. Tyrese Maxey. That's great work by him. All right, let's go to our man Stan in Drexel Hill. Stan, what's going on, brother?
Hey, good morning, guys. How you guys feeling today?
Good, Stan. It's a happy day,
dude. It's a great day. It's a stress-free Tuesday.
Listen, seriously, right? No Eagles this week. Got to worry about and kind of just relax and just enjoy football overall. Hopefully the Sixers can keep it going. Real quick on the Eagles, I tend to lean with John on this one. I do agree. I think Howie might have overplayed his hand a little bit. Now, granted, they're 6-2, right?
Yes.
It'd be totally different scrutiny if we were 2-6. He would be getting, we might have to fire him type of calls again, right? So because they're still having some success, and if they go on to win us another Super Bowl, I guess it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I guess it worked out for us. But to let guys like specifically Isaiah Rodgers walk and Becton walk for money that you could have easily gone and gave them, I think that does hurt because you're seeing it out there with Keely Ringo and even on the offensive
Yeah,
line.
look, the
but I guess
Becton one,
still
the
remains
Becton one, I understood more because we've seen.
Why did you
Steen-
understand the Becton one more? Because but you didn't believe in Steen, did you?
we didn't see a drastic fall off. I never saw Keely Ringo.
No, exactly. Well, no, we
for
didn't
the
understand
Eagles
why
to
people
have
were
said,
doing that.
"Don't worry, we got Keely." That's the one that I go, well, hold on a second. What do you know about Keely Ringo? Even though
And you
you
didn't.
see him every day.
That's true.
Yeah, I
do
look
agree
at it.
with that.
I think he did overplay it.
Yeah,
hand.
but with the Sixers, you brought up Paul George and Embiid. I think specifically with Paul George, I think he's going to help us still in the half-court situation because, we forget that this is a 40% three-point shooter, and we're not just talking off the dribble. We're talking catch-and-shoot type of situations. He'll still probably be one of the better defenders out there. And the minutes-wise, he's going to take minutes. I think they like Barlow at that 4, so I'm guessing Oubre goes to the bench, which I'm okay with from an energy standpoint. So I think those minutes get cut right there. You're probably not going to see Eric Gordon like you did last night, which, he came in and gave you 8 points.
He actually played pretty well
and he hit a
last
few
night.
big shots too.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think with PG, also his playmaking, which is kind of underrated about him, I think you'll see him helping out in situations because, VJ, as great as he's been, you saw what happened when they pressured him a little bit. He got a little jittery at a turnover towards
Late
the
in
end
the
there.
game, late in the game, he had that one too.
Right. So I think you're going to have PG out there doing things.
And I also wonder.
My last point, I think they want to run.
Yeah. Oh,
I hope so.
And Nick Nurse, Connor, do me a favor. Thanks for the call, Stan. Get the Nick Nurse clip from last week where he talked about I want to go. But
like late in that game, that was and Ala was pointing it out in the broadcast, but it was a dumb sequence by Edgecombe.
Yeah, it was
a terrible
mistake.
turnover, and then he fouls, which you just let a guy. You got a big lead, let the guy have the basket, and just out of frustration. But that's what a young guy learning.
rookie
I love
mistake.
that they're learning. Let them learn.
I also wonder. I don't know Paul George. All right, I've never spoken to him. There's kind of like one thing left that he has not accomplished in the NBA, and that's winning. And so, does a guy at 35 years old? I don't know. I don't know.
No, but
him.
I mean, if I was to ask you, do you think he stays up at night like
Damn, I haven't
absolutely
won yet.
damn
No,
bothered by that?
I don't think
It
that.
doesn't strike you that way. Now, whether we may be incorrect. Maybe I'm completely incorrect on that. He doesn't seem like a guy to me that's losing sleep over it.
Well, maybe he realizes, hey, this is my last chance to win something with this team. All right, here was Nick Nurse last week. So I've mentioned it a couple of times, so I figured we might as well play it.
Sure.
Nick Nurse last week, I asked him, like, hey, how do you balance this? Because they do want to go. And clearly you've seen it so far with what Maxey and Edgecombe have been able to do. But you do have a guy like Joel Embiid in the half court. This was his response.
I think that's certainly a priority is how do we take care of that? And I think right now the answer is those guys got to look to go. Like we need some throw ahead. We need some attacks in transition. Those guys need to take advantage. I always say, like we can always push it and we don't have to rush it all the time. And those times when we don't rush it, we can settle in and Joe's there and we start playing through him. I think more of that. I just want a little more variety of personnel with Joel, not just Tyrese Joel. I want VJ Joel. I want Grimes Joel. I want Paul George Joel when we get back, and I want Kelly and Joel. I just want it to be a little less predictable, even though we're playing probably through Joel.
That was a very honest answer.
Okay, now here's the part that I liked it till the last second. Even though we're probably going to be playing through Joel. I don't want them playing through Joel.
Well, in the half
court. I don't want to return to that.
But you're not putting him on the block. You know what I mean? Like you're not just sticking him down low.
But wouldn't that with the personnel that surrounds him, would that not be the best place for him to be?
No, not with his ability to facilitate to everybody else.
I don't.
He's
with all
still
due respect, I don't think facilitating seems like this team's problem at all.
When
it's going to be.
When he looked the way that he did against Boston, he was still getting double teamed, and that's just going to open up shots for everybody else. It will. Now, look, that does not mean I want them to grab a rebound and Nick Nurse starts screaming, slow it down, right? Like, no, go. And you heard him. He said it. He goes, I want to go. I want them to push.
He can say that he wants it, but whether it's going to be, I don't know that it's going to be with Joel Embiid.
I mean, they ran with him against Boston, and they didn't slow down for him one bit.
Yep.
I think it's just the way it's going to be moving forward. Is they're going to push it, but when it does get to the half court, it's going to be a Joel Embiid, product, part of it. And that's fine because I think he still opens things up for everybody else. All right, coming up next, I promise I'll get to these coming up next. Jalen Hurts has historic numbers for the Eagles and some that are also league-wide.
Like hearing that.
I will give those to you coming up next. More of your excitement on the text line and the phone line when it comes to the Sixers. Do you believe we're starting to see something special form? And something special does not necessarily just mean the here and now, but also years to come, right? There will be a day when Joel Embiid is not on the team anymore. And you're going to have to build off of somebody. And seeing Tyrese Maxey take that step forward that we have seen through 3 games this year is very important to point out. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Sixers guard Tyrese Maxey.
All right, Jalen Hurts, when does he start getting into the MVP conversation? The reason why, shout out as always to Ruben Frank, who puts together the crazy numbers, man. It's amazing what he can find. And he has an article on NBC Sports Philadelphia. I won't give you all of them because there's it's 1A, 1B, 2 through 10, and there's a 6.5. So we're not going to go through all of it, but I would say go check it out, NBCSportsPhiladelphia.com. Rube does a great job. Through 8 games, Johnny, Jalen Hurts has completed 70% of his passes with 15 touchdowns and 1 interception. The only other quarterback in NFL history at 70% with at least 15 touchdowns and 1 or fewer interceptions through 8 games is Drew Brees. By the way, he was at 76% that year. That's ridiculous. In 2018, 76% completion percentage. That's incredible. That is insane.
That's crazy.
Hurts, by the way, only the 7th quarterback in NFL history with 70%, 15 touchdowns, and 1 interception in any 8-game span in NFL history.
So you're talking historic.
Brees.
You're not being hyperbolic.
No. Here are the names that he's attached to. Brees, Kirk Cousins, Lamar, Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers, and Deshaun Watson before, Deshaun Watson became Deshaun Watson.
Before you knew who
Deshaun
exactly. Watson was.
Hurts, his 114.4 passer rating is the highest ever by an Eagles quarterback after 8 games. The previous high was Carson Wentz in 2018, actually.
So it was the year after?
Yeah, it was the year. Remember, statistically, if you go back and you look at the Wentz stats in 2018, you go, he had a pretty good year. But if you watched it, you realized he was not himself. I'll give you another one. Hurts has now gone 12 consecutive home games without throwing an interception, tying Aaron Rodgers for the longest active streak in NFL history. You have to have a minimum of 20 attempts in those games.
That's wild. To me, that's a really wild number.
Yeah.
But they also have been, it speaks to their dominance at home that they played from the lead a lot, which helps.
Yeah.
But still, though, it's great. It's great field awareness. Those are wild numbers.
I'll give you one more. Hurts, his win-loss record. Not that you should put it on a quarterback, but he's 52-22 in 74 career starts. The only quarterbacks with more wins in their first 74 starts: Patrick Mahomes with 59, Ken Stabler with 57, Roger Staubach, going way back, 55, Brady 55, Lamar with 54, Darryl LaMonica. I know you have a LaMonica jersey in your house.
Darryl LaMonica. They didn't even sell jerseys back then.
And Russell Wilson.
Guys dressed up to go to games. They wore suits. When Darryl LaMonica was going to games, guys wore suits and bowlers. That's incredible. Those numbers are incredible.
Yeah, Ruben Frank does a great job.
Yeah,
there's a lot of them, but I'm not going to go through them all show. But yeah, Jalen Hurts continue to do his thing, man. It's unbelievable.
Those numbers are ungodly.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's been fantastic.
Or maybe godly.
Or godly, maybe.
Or godly.
All right. Real quick before we get to our text messages, not only is it a chesty Tuesday and a stress-free Tuesday, it's a Temple Tuesday, Johnny.
It is.
We have another 4-pack of tickets to give away for Temple's upcoming game against East Carolina. Remember, Temple just 1 win away from being bowl eligible.
Now, this will be a hard one. You think?
Yeah, a little bit more difficult.
It'll be a little hard one.
You want to go Maxi MVP?
Sure, why not?
First person to text Maxi MVP to 610-632-0975.
You're going to be put on a watch list if you text, text this.
Hey, averaging 37 a game. First person to text Maxi MVP to 610-632-0975 will win a 4-pack for this upcoming Saturday's game against ECU. 2 o'clock kickoff at Lincoln Financial Field. Get ready, Owls fans. Make sure you get your tickets today by calling 215-204-8499 or by visiting owlstix.com. Maxi MVP to 610-632-0975, and you'll get a 4-pack.
You're not jumping the gun there at all.
No,
now,
not at all.
You've been doing a good job of not jumping the gun. Now that's
trying to pace myself.
Now you're
Tomorrow
jumping the gun.
Sixers finals champions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, now you're jumping the gun a little.
What do we got on the text line that's not about trying to win Temple tickets?
All right, this texter checks in. Sean says, I was at the game last night and was impressed with VJ Edgecombe in person. This team looks great to start the year. 79 to go, though. Still very skeptical. I want to see what happens after a month or so, but right now I like what I see.
All right,
why is he very skeptical?
Because
that's what I'm. No, but the thing is, if you say I'm skeptical that it can continue because you haven't seen the full complement of players work together, okay, but very skeptical.
Cursed franchise.
Based on what you've seen?
Look, I think
that cursed franchise stuff is nonsense.
It's all about.
No, it is absolutely not.
What does the cursed franchise have to do with
John,
anyone on that
they
roster?
can't eat peanuts.
Somebody, wait, was it you that told me? One of you guys told me the tweet after the first night when they dumped water on Edgecombe.
Oh, yeah, he's going to get
Connor goes, he's going to be alert. No, he's going to be allergic to water.
It is absolutely ridiculous. The curse stuff is stupid. It's just listening ears go off.
Anyways, whatever you want to believe in, you believe it. But here's the deal. I think it also depends on how people go into this season. I went into this season with just, hey, I hope it's better than last year.
No real expectations.
Right? Like, I just want to have fun. Because last year, can I tell you, I had such a beautiful moment last night. So
what do you mean?
We found sort of the magic elixir to get Coop to sleep through the night. And he has a yogurt at 7:45 every night.
A yogurt?
Yeah, it fills his belly last second, right? And he's eating the yogurt.
Is it one of those Go-Gurts?
No, he eats it with a spoon. He's a big boy,
he's got the spoon. He likes it.
And I had the Sixers game on my phone. And he goes, Daddy, can I watch the Sixers game? Because I just had it like in front of me. I go, hell yeah, dude. And we're watching this game together. And I'm like, dude, you're going to watch Tyrese Maxey like as you grow up. Like, this is a beautiful thing. I didn't want to poison his brain with the Sixers last year. I did not want to do that. The brain rot that was the Sixers last year, I didn't want to do that to him. You know what? A little late night TV with the Sixers on TV is okay. And the Flyers, because we've been doing that as well
yes.
with the nighttime yogurts. But, like, last year was miserable. So all I wanted this year was to, like, put on a Sixers game and be happy. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for championship. I hope we get there. But that's not what I'm asking for. That's not what I'm demanding. I'm not having NBA championship or bust conversations like we had with the Phillies in the World Series. Like, I just want to go into a given night that the Sixers are playing and say, you know what? I believe I'm going to be entertained tonight.
Okay.
Go ahead. I know you got your finger on the button.
No. I was getting ready for the music to.
Well, then play the other music.
All right.
Going into the break. Screw it, man. Like, I just want to be happy again watching the Sixers. Is that too much to ask? Well, when I get skeptical, like, I get it. I know where you're coming from. But maybe don't have expectations.
How about it's the very skeptical. No. Not in a season with no expectations. There's every reason to just be wildly optimistic.
Absolutely.
Wildly optimistic.
Speaking of expectations, let's talk about Bryce Harper coming up next.
Freddie Freeman's enjoying the Imagine being upset that someone compared you to Freddie Freeman. Imagine.
Well, he didn't say that, did he?
Sort of did. That's who Dave Dombrowski compared him to. And it somehow offended him. Somehow he found offense in it.
I thought Dave Dombrowski was wrong to do that.
Well, we'll get into the conversation. Right. Let's say he was absolutely compared to Freddie Freeman.
We didn't get into it yesterday because the Eagles played. And, of course, it's hard today because of the Sixers. But Bryce Harper responded to the comments made by Dave Dombrowski. You'll hear about those coming up next. It's Kincade Salciunas on a stress-free Tuesday until the next segment here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Tyrese Maxey takes over. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Sixers continued their hot start to the season last night. They beat the Magic 136-124, and Tyrese Maxey took over again in this one. 43 points, his second 40-piece of the season so far. VJ Edgecombe had 26, Kelly Oubre had 25, so it wasn't just Maxey. And Tyrese talked after the game on NBC Sports Philadelphia about the trust that's developing in the rookie backcourt teammate of his.
I mean, for how he's playing, he's playing extremely aggressive. Only had 2 turnovers tonight. Has the ball in his hands a lot. We all trust him. He got to keep playing that way. But yeah, his defense has been great. His patience has been great, and he scored the ball at a high level.
Sixers are back in action tonight, 7 p.m. down in Washington against the Wizards. That game will be live here on the Fanatic. The Flyers get back on the ice tonight at 6 p.m. They've got the Penguins at home. That game live on WMMR. NFL Week 8 wrapped up last night. Chiefs beat the Commanders. Eagles roll into their Week 9 bye at 6-2. And the World Series had one heck of a game last night. Dodgers took down the Blue Jays 6-5 in 18 innings. Dodgers lead the World Series 2-1. We'll talk to Jeff McClain at 8:25. Keith Pompey at 8:40. Amy Fadul joins us for the entire 9 o'clock hour. This update is brought to you by Groundworks, your trained and certified experts for basement waterproofing and foundation repair since 1997. Book your free inspection at groundworks.com. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the Sixers, Flyers, and Union 97.
97.5 The Fanatic. I just got one of those random emails, John. I know you get them too from like these PR agencies.
Who were they trying to get on?
No, it's nobody that they're trying to get on. But it was most mispronounced words in 2025 by state.
Is it words? Okay.
Well, they say words.
Okay, give us a hint.
For the you want let's do Pennsylvania.
Okay, for Pennsylvania. Give me a hint. That doesn't give it away.
Athlete.
Connor, you have a guess?
Athlete. No, I don't.
Can we have the sport?
Paul Skeens.
It's this state, right?
Athlete that plays for a Philadelphia sports team. And let's go. Hockey's off the table because they're no crazy European names. Although this guy was not born in the States. And
Johan Duran.
Yes, that is the number
Johan
one
Duran.
Mispronounced. They put word, but
Johan Duran. That's it. Well, you gave it. You said. I mean, you led me to it. I wouldn't have gotten that. I wouldn't have gotten that just guessing. But when you then said, and then you said not born in the States.
Yeah.
Then I start going to okay. Well, I can rule out.
I should know because Andrew's a big Johan Duran guy.
Yeah, Johan Duran.
It's just funny. I don't know how they figure this stuff out. I have
they
no
make
idea.
it up.
I think it's a conversation. I think it's a conversation starter.
But to me, like the hardest one is when the name changes constantly. And as we talked about earlier, like
you mean like on the Eagles' defensive side of the ball?
Moro, Ojamo, like it's changed every week.
By the way, on the national broadcast, someone, it wasn't Nick Picone who does great work.
Yeah.
Someone else, and I'm sorry I'm stealing your thing. So you'll find it. It'll probably come up in your algorithm.
Sure.
Where his name has been mispronounced on the national broadcast 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Or not mispronounced. We don't know which one's right.
And I feel bad because I always want to be respectful. Like,
you're trying to be respectful.
As a guy with a very European last name, like I know the struggle, right? Like I know how people mispronounce my name all the time. So I try to be as respectful as possible. But when it changes every 5 minutes, like how it's kind of hard to keep up.
Like your name, someone can mispronounce. Connor's, it's impossible.
Yeah,
never had it once.
It's impossible.
Unless somebody wants like a Thomas.
Mine people
never happens.
Mine people misspell.
Yes,
but other than you can't mispronounce Kincade, you can't mispronounce. But Salciunas is one that you got to look at. So
it's all good.
There we go.
All right. Do you have the Bryce Harper comments in front of you, Mr. Kincade?
I do.
You're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. If you're just tuning in, Eagles conversation, midway point topic. Who has been fairly or unfairly criticized so far this season? Kevin Patullo was our, sort of first name that we talked about. But we've talked about Hurts. We've talked about Howie Roseman maybe escaping some criticism. And, of course, the majority of the responses have been about the Sixers today. Do you believe something special is starting to form after their third straight win to start the season last night and Maxey having another 40-piece? But the Bryce Harper story, we didn't really get into yesterday because
on Eagles Monday we can't.
Yeah, it's Eagles Monday. But Bryce Harper responded to the comments made by Dave Dombrowski. First, it was Dombrowski at the postseason presser. Then Scott Boras spoke at what meetings was it?
Scott Boras was at the owners
meetings. Yeah. So Scott Boras was asked about it, and now Bryce Harper.
And then they were. But Joel Sherman is the one that really Bryce Harper was responding to.
Yeah, because he talked about
the issue.
Wouldn't be. I'm speculating here.
Right.
Speculate.
Well, Dave Dombrowski has never once brought up trading Bryce Harper.
No.
Dave Dombrowski has clarified on the record he has no interest in trading Bryce Harper. So when Bryce Harper's responding and saying, after all I've done for the team and how much I love Philly, which was over the weekend, I'm really upset about these trade rumors. Bryce, the guy who can trade you has never said it. And the guy who has said it is even on the record before you made your comments saying he has no interest in trading Bryce Harper. So the comments don't have to be made. You don't have to talk about trade rumors that Joel Sherman says because there are no such trade rumors when the guy who runs the franchise has never suggested trading you anywhere in print, in discussion, or otherwise even hypothetically, or has even discussed it and is clarified even the day before. Clarified, I have no interest in trading Bryce Harper. We don't at all. What Bryce Harper did comment on, what he seemed to be offended on was, could Bryce Harper return to elite status?
Right.
His answer was, I don't know. Now, you can stop it right there. And you could stop listening and turn off your ears, which is obviously what Bryce Harper did. You could turn off your ears and go, I'm pissed. Of course I can return to elite. Or you could listen to the rest of the answer where he talks about Freddie Freeman is the example that he talks about when he talks about whether Bryce Harper can return to elite. He brings up Freddie Freeman. He says, look, Freddie Freeman is an example of a guy who he doesn't reach those peak numbers that he had before. He's not at that peak. So, and then, by the way, if you didn't see Freddie Freeman, he is, at the age of 34, he was the most dominant player in the postseason in baseball last year. And last night, he just won Game 3 of the World Series.
18th inning.
And Freddie Freeman is the definition of clutch, which, by the way, a lot of us here have seen we saw a couple nice moments in his career of Bryce Harper being really, really clutch for this team in the postseason. Dave Dombrowski, he literally compared him to Freddie Freeman. So you have to have context. When someone says something, you cannot take it out of context. You got to say, in the same press conference, within 30 seconds, he went from saying, do I think Bryce Harper can return to elite? I don't know. That's up to Bryce. There's a guy like Freddie Freeman. He's an example of a player who is not playing at his peak levels, not performing at the numbers that he had in his peak, but he still can turn it on and come up at big moments. Dave Dombrowski compared him to the greatest postseason player, arguably, of the last 10 years in Freddie Freeman, from Atlanta in 21, L.A. in 24, and L.A. in 25. There was no reason for any of this drama.
So
from
people
Bryce.
on YouTube are wondering, was Bryce Harper, in terms of the trade conversation, was he responding to Dave Dombrowski, or was he responding to people on social media and radio stations? Because there are people that have talked about trading Bryce Harper, or there have been fans that have said,
absolutely.
hey, I want to trade Bryce Harper. And
there are fans here.
Is he responding to those people? Because
if you know that the trade rumors have zero merit.
Right, especially when Joel Sherman says speculating.
You do not respond to them. If the boss in charge goes on the record even the day before you speak and says, we have no interest in trading Bryce Harper. It's never been discussed. But I've never talked about it.
The reason why I think people are wondering, and I'll say it myself, like Bryce Harper, we know is online. Whether he's posting or just reading.
No, he reads a lot.
And listening. Because we know that he listens to radio stations in the city of Philadelphia.
Yes, he does.
He has talked about it.
Yes, he does.
And maybe he's driving down, I don't know where he lives, 95.
Lives over in Jersey.
He's in Jersey. Or maybe
he's over in Jersey.
Maybe he's driving on Route 55.
Marlton, I believe.
I don't know where Bryce Harper.
I believe Marlton.
He's driving on.
Well, he makes it known where he lives.
He's driving on Route 70. All right. And he's driving. He has one of the radio stations on. He hears somebody say, "Oh, Bryce Harper's come up small. I want to trade him. I want to start things over." I wonder if he's responding to those people.
Okay. Well, the thing is, again, there's no reason to respond to trade rumor talk when there is no trade rumors. You don't give it air. You don't add air to the conversation. Don't give it oxygen. At that point, when your organization says, we're not interested in trading Bryce Harper. We love Bryce Harper. He's part of our future and everything. We have never discussed trading Bryce Harper. Conversation over. Who cares if a dope like me or someone else or whatever brought up trading Bryce Harper? By the way, I can understand a fan saying it. We got to break up these contracts. Got to break up. There's no way that I'm on board for re-signing Schwarber and Real Muto. You got to break up. You cannot sign 2 more long-term contracts to old guys and not expect that this is going to end in disaster, because there's enough baseball to show you that it ends in disaster. Those big money contracts, late 30s, are going to crush this team, especially if they go to a salary cap after next season. So to me, don't give it oxygen. And more importantly, after all I've done for Philadelphia, what are you talking about? Your jersey is the most purchased. The most purchased since you've been here. This town absolutely has embraced Bryce. This town loves Bryce Harper. Yeah. Like, all he's done for the city and everything. By the way, it would be much better if he took the Cal Raleigh route. And that was my point. I would love to see Bryce Harper stand there and go, you know what?
We failed.
This is the 4th year in a row.
Yeah.
That I'm having to stand here, and we haven't met. And the last 3, we have severely not met expectations. And Here's what I want. I want to be pissed off this offseason. I want to be focused because we've let this city down. Cal Raleigh did it. It was his first time.
Yeah.
First time to the postseason. And he stood there as the leader of the team and told the fan base, I'm sorry, this was a failure. And we're going to do everything we can to fix this and get better and do what we got to do.
Yeah, that's a different conversation a little bit where I don't disagree with you at all as far as the Cal Raleigh conversation. Here's the thing with Bryce and being upset with the fan base potentially having trade rumors, because I will just say, Dave Dombrowski, 0% problem with what he said. I think it was a fair evaluation of where Bryce Harper is.
Yes.
And I think Bryce Harper's being a little bit sensitive to what Dave Dombrowski had to say if that's what bothered him.
And you know why? He's always been the favorite.
Yes. And that's
Correct.
Something that
he's
he may
always
have to
been
get used to.
He's always been the monogram bag.
This is the first time, at least in Philadelphia. I don't remember how it ended in D.C.
Well, they
Not
wanted.
well.
I know they wanted him back.
Well.
I know they wanted him back, and then him leaving was what upset them.
No, they would have loved to have had him back.
This is the first time, maybe in his career, then where there are people that are questioning who he is as a player.
But don't invoke trade rumors as the basis of it, because the organization has told you there's no basis for this.
I was getting to that. It's not about the organization necessarily. He came here. He got a basically lifetime contract that he chose to take in this city, and he decided not to put an opt-out in his contract against the advice of Scott Boras to show that he wants to be here. No trade clause, no nothing. I am locked in. So if you do that for a fan base and a franchise and a city, I can understand a guy feeling a certain type of way about the fan base and having trade rumors.
You can say that. You can say that, and you're not wrong. But what you can't say it is when after 22 and then after 23, and obviously, because now it's been documented, he's still doing it. He's asking to take that deal and rip it up and give me a new one. Add more years, give me more money. So you can do the whole, he signed a deal, so we got to respect him for it. But he signed a deal that he doesn't give a damn about. He wants a new deal.
No.
He wants more money.
You're talking about the money. He doesn't try to leave the city. And what I'm saying is he's
But he wants to hold him hostage and get more money.
Okay, that's, again, a different conversation. He committed to this city long term. If he feels like the city's giving up on him, I understand why that would bother him. Dave Dombrowski's comment should not have been the
I will
spark
say
that lit
this,
this
though.
fire.
The majority of the city is not giving
And where's
up.
the majority? I mean, the vast majority.
Yeah, but it's the first time ever he's hearing it, like legitimately hearing it.
I mean, seriously,
not just overrated chants from opposing fans.
Turn off the radio, put down your phone.
It might be good for him.
Enjoy the beautiful family.
All right, coming up next, let's enjoy the Eagles win again. Second opinion segment, that comes your way next. The Eagles beat the Giants. Now that we had another night to sleep on it, some other thoughts that we may not have discussed yesterday on the show. We get into that coming up next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Sean Martin.
The Sixers text real quick, because I don't want to lose the excitement of the Sixers.
Text.
And, of course, we do not have today's headlines today because we're about to do our second opinion segment. Today's headlines would have been brought to us by who, Mr. Thomas?
It would have been brought to us by our friends over at Lundy Law, of course. For over 70 years, Lundy Law has been fighting for injured people. If you need them, remember the name, Lundy Law. Your injury lawyers, visit LundyLaw.com. That's LundyLaw.com.
All right, the Sixers win last night over the Orlando Magic, which that's a very good win because the Magic will be one of the other top 6. Like, I'm going to guarantee a top 6 seed for the Orlando Magic.
You're really going out on a limb, though, aren't you?
Well, yeah. I would say 4, but I don't know. There might be another team that comes out of nowhere.
Well,
right?
they were in the 4-5 series last year,
right?
So,
and because of the Boston and Indianapolis, and the Pacers having the injuries that they have, there's going to be teams that are climb up in the ranks. Like the Bulls are undefeated right now. I don't buy the Bulls. All right, other than Matas Puzelis,
Look at you. Look at you.
On,
showing off.
Lithuania, baby.
Showing off.
What do we got in the Sixers?
Kaleem in Northeast Philly says, this Sixers team has me excited again. I love how this team runs the court, and being able to get JoJo healthy and running through him in the half court is only going to benefit them come playoff time.
Yeah. Look, it will.
How is he going to keep up? You think he is able to keep up?
No, he's not going to.
No, it's when the game comes, whether it slows down or you just don't have the break. Right, look. You can try to do a fast break, an outlet pass all you want. If it's not there, you have to pull the ball out, right? And so when you pull the ball out, you don't always have to attempt to get a layup when you're on the outlet, right? Like you don't always have to do that.
Not.
So then you can pull it out, and then you go to Joel Embiid. All right, let's do the second opinion segment.
You might not always agree with what you hear. Sometimes you need a second opinion. Brought to you by the consultants in medical oncology and hematology.
Tell us about him, Johnny.
Absolutely the best. Sent another person to the Sprandios to try to find an answer for their cancer issues. If you have one, I'm telling you, these are the people, and I love them very much like family. They're great.
So, again, if you're just tuning in, you've never heard second opinion segment. The game happens on a Sunday. We react to it on a Monday. We talk about so many things. We may leave some things off the table. We may not have gotten to them.
Sure.
So on the Tuesday, it's sort of our next chance to sort of break it down before we officially close the book, and then we move on to the next game. We got the bye week. I said this to you on post-show headlines, Johnny, a couple weeks ago.
All right.
So I wonder if you remember, and I'll bring it up again. And no, this has nothing to do with A.J. Brown and everything that's been going on this year with the drama of it. I said to you a couple weeks ago, are we starting to see, speaking of passing of the torch, where it's becoming more of the Devontae Smith aerial attack? We know that A.J. Brown can still have his spectacular days.
Absolutely.
But we're seeing Devontae Smith put together like a quietly great season because there were some slow games in the beginning, only 16 yards against the Cowboys and 29 yards against the Bucs. But 4 for 53 against the Chiefs, 8 for 60 against the Rams, 8 for 114 against the Broncos, 4 for 49 in the bad game against the Giants, 9 for 183 against the Vikings, and then 6 for 84 against the Giants. On third downs, Jalen Hurts is looking his way. There's clearly a connection between the two of them right now. Are we starting to see maybe Devontae Smith? We knew that was going to happen eventually, right? Like A.J. Brown wasn't going to be here for another 5 years. Are we starting to see that sort of turning of the page from A.J. being the 1A to maybe Devontae being the 1A at times?
Take his under.
Yeah, please. Thank you, Connor, for that one. Yes, we're seeing a transition, but I do believe that it's week to week still.
Sure, yeah,
but
absolutely.
one thing that we're seeing is that Devontae is up for the challenge that maybe a lot of people didn't think he was up for.
Right, because remember, his slender build was a concern coming into the NFL for everybody. The ability
Absolutely.
was there, but it was, could he be able to stay upright because of the shots that and man, does he take some wicked hits. But he's your leading receiver, and I know A.J. Brown did not play last week, but he's your leading receiver by
a good
almost
distance,
200
right?
yards.
Yeah,
so it wasn't just because of this past game. All right, what do you got, Johnny?
For one day, and for one day only, this makeshift offensive line, watching the 15-minute game yesterday, was even better than I thought it was seeing it in person. They held their own versus one of the best athletic fronts in the league on Sunday.
They got bodies on that line, man.
Now, Jalen still had to run for his life at times, and that's to be expected when you're playing against great players. I don't expect them to just dominate the entire game.
Thibodeau, Burns, Lawrence,
Oh my gosh.
Abdul Carter.
It's unbelievable. And again, the Giants are going to be a problem. And the Giants are going to be a bigger problem than the Washington Commanders are going to be. I really believe that. But to me, I just was very, very impressed by the makeshift offensive line and what they accomplished because they won the day. No question. You score that many points, you won the day, and I never saw that really coming.
All right, I like that.
Now, real quick, when you say the Giants are going to be a problem, before we're flooded by text,
for the Commanders,
you're talking about future seasons.
Oh, yeah. No, not.
Just so we're clear.
Just look, they got a star wide receiver. They got a running back.
Yeah.
They look like they have a young quarterback who can make it work. They've got a defensive front already built. Yeah, they're going to be a problem.
Yeah, I knew what you meant. I just want to make sure.
Oh, no. Make sure of that. Good
Washington
job,
ain't
Connor.
that far away. We'll get texts. Folks, the hunt is on. Last 2 weeks, Jalen Sutton goes up to Minnesota, a little pick six. I know Jalen Carter started that play, but ball skills, athleticism, then goes out this past week. 4 solo tackles, including a sack, and he looked really good. I'll tell you, I think the start of the season is more on the defensive front as a whole, and if I put it on one guy heavily, it would be number 98 and Jalen Carter, whether it's injury, lack of production. Vic Fangio questioned whether or not he was in good enough shape, spitting on the opposing quarterback. When Jalen Carter's out there, doesn't it look like the other guys have a lot more opportunity for these step-up seasons, though?
Sure they do.
That's why, respectfully, Milton Williams got paid. Because Jalen Carter's going to get 2 guys, and sometimes the running backs probably job is to, hey, if that guy breaks through, you have to stop him before getting to the quarterback. So sometimes 3 guys are keeping an eye on Jalen Carter. I'm not going to get, overboard excited from 1 week of Jalen's hunt. But it was nice to see.
And Nolan Smith's coming back, hopefully after the bye. I think the edge rusher position's in better shape than we give it credit for.
So you do. You're believing?
I worry about Nolan Smith re-injuring himself because of the way he plays. Nolan Smith gets hurt because of the ferociousness in which he plays. It's not like injury prone or tweaks or anything. Like, that dude is a madman when he plays, which is why we love him so much. But it's also led to some injuries.
It's part of the reason, and it's part of the reason why he dropped too.
All right, give us one more CMOH there, please.
Love love Dr. Sprandio and their entire team. Visit CMOH.org. If anyone gets a cancer diagnosis in your family, I promise you'll be glad that they made the call.
Eagles are entering the bye week, and we're not long from the trade deadline, November 4th. Jeff McClain joins us for his Tuesday hit. Coming up next is Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
A big night for the backcourt. I'm Connor Thomas. The Sixers continued their hot start to the season last night. They took down the Magic 136-124. Tyrese Maxey, 43 points, his second 40-point performance of the season so far through only 3 games. And VJ Edgecombe had 26. Kelly Oubre had 25. Tyrese Maxey talked after the game about the team effort and what Nick Nurse has done to put all the players on the team in a good position.
We put in something, Coach Nurse put in something that's going to cater to everybody. I think he did a really good job with that. He looked at the team that we had, the guards that we had, and then we also have Big Fella and PG. So, he put in an offense that would be, good for everybody.
That audio courtesy of NBC Sports Philadelphia. Sixers back in action tonight at 7. Washington against the Wizards. That game live here on the Fanatic. Flyers back on the ice tonight. 6 p.m. puck dropped at home against the Penguins. That game on WMMR. NFL Week 8 wrapped up last night. Chiefs beat the Commanders. Eagles roll into their Week 9 bye at 6-2. And the World Series, Dodgers took down the Blue Jays 6-5 in 18 innings. Early this morning, I guess it was. Dodgers lead that series 2-1. Jeff McClain of the Inquirer joins us coming up next. This update's brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Looking for an exceptional driving experience? Experience the power, precision, and intelligence of an iconic Mercedes-Benz SUV at your local Mercedes-Benz dealer today. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Attention, Delaware Valley.
Drama-free, stress-free Tuesday after an Eagles win going into the bye week. But, of course, we are getting closer to the NFL trade deadline, so that will be discussed as well. And joining us now on the Comcast Business Hotline, every day in business, a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next. You got to experience the new look of the Inquirer. Inquirer Sports, where fans can read, watch, and listen to their favorite reporters and columnists. Go to inquirer.com/sports. And one of our favorite reporters and columnists from the Inquirer covers Eagles. Does a great job. Our man Jeff McClain joins us this morning. Jeffrey, good morning. How are we doing today?
Good morning, Andrew, John. How are you guys?
First and foremost, I need to make sure, how are you feeling? Because last week, you battled through it.
Yeah, much better.
All right, well, that's good. You're a gamer. We always knew.
I ran into him and Sealski in the parking lot the other day, and I literally walked away from them. They looked like they were deep in conversation. I literally walked away from them just to make sure that Jeff was fully recovered.
Yeah, you also didn't want to breathe in the illness.
He's fully
but Jeff,
recovered.
we know you're a gamer, man. So this past week, it was nice to see the Eagles put together like a 4-quarter effort, both sides of the ball, offense and defense, which is great going into the bye week as well. So let me just ask you, what was the locker room like? Because I know it's always a party after a win, but for the first time in the 2025 season, a dominant win for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, it seemed like, celebratory. The music was playing, the Motown. They typically like to go in that direction. And, it was 2 wins in a row. I felt maybe, after the Vikings game, which was on the road, a little bit different, but, to get a little bit of the monkey off their backs after 2 losses in a 5-day span, that was important. And look, it's the Giants. I'm not, trying to downplay any win in the NFL, but especially, when they just lost them 17 days prior, but, put it in perspective too. I mean, that's a team they should beat. So I think they understood that as well. And they're happy to, they finally kind of figured out the run game to some extent. I think that was probably the biggest takeaway I'd have. And head into the bye. And it sounded like, after the game when they put out the Nick Sirianni post-game speech that he gave to his players, the fact that he gave them off until Monday, that may have been the thing they're most excited about.
Which is nice. Now, when you look at what the offensive line did on Sunday, obviously a group that was it's still sort of a makeshift operation right now that's going on. That was so impressive what they managed to do against the Giants. What were your thoughts when you really go back, and I know you've probably gotten a chance to take a look at it?
Yeah, it seemed like, a little more diverse calls in the run game, and they had identified these pin and pull runs, which is a combination of gap and zone blocking schemes that would work against the Giants front, and it did. They were able to kind of get Saquon outside. What you do is you pull, in some cases it's Toth. They pull Mailata or Lane Johnson to get them out ahead, and with these combo scheme blocking techniques, it does you do in gap scheme running, you're trying to create one specific lane for running back to running back, whereas in zone, you're trying to give them his options, and this kind of is a combo deal. And, Saquon was able to take, bite off some big chunks on those runs, as did Tank Bigsby, and it was effective. And, I think it was also just more about kind of just winning at the point of attack. And when teams give you 5 and 6 man fronts, there aren't it's hard to have combo blocks, right? So you got to beat the man in front of you. And I think they did a much better job of that than they did in the first game, when, quite frankly, I think they lost they lost in terms of physicality on both sides of the ball, really.
All right, Jeff, I know Howie's been aggressive pretty much all season long with a couple of trades being made, but I'll ask you, NFL trade deadline coming up November 4th. He's got the bye week, so he can just sit down, lock into his office, and see if he needs to make some trades. I'll just set the number at 2.5. Over under 2.5 new names for the Philadelphia Eagles after the trade deadline.
Well, I think it's going to be under. It's amazing. I've seen just the evolution of this trade deadline thing. There have been years when the NFL has had no trades.
Right.
And we've seen, and for years the Eagles didn't do much of anything, but now over the last maybe 5, 6, 7 years, Howie has been aggressive, and not just in the trade deadline. I mean, he's always kind of working the phones, and we've seen it, as you mentioned, this offseason, a bunch of them, 5 or 6 already. So, you would think that would lead to someone else coming here that's new. I wouldn't say it's a slam dunk. there are obvious, I wouldn't say obvious needs, but there are areas that you can address. The edge rusher position, although they're bringing Brandon Graham, kind of to some extent did that, bring him out of retirement. Cornerback, yeah, but you're getting Jacorian Bennett now off injured reserve, and this is the guy that you traded for. So do you necessarily need to do that? And I guess everyone's talking about possibly the wide receiver, but that's not going to happen. So, yeah, I would say maybe one's possible. It could happen soon too. It's not like he does, as you mentioned, have the bye to work on it, and it's not like he has to go right up until the deadline. But he does have that luxury.
When everybody says like the wide receiver isn't happening, I got to tell you the messages this weekend though, by some of the insiders like Adam Schefter, who joins us every Wednesday, of the Eagles have no interest in trading A.J. Brown in season or this season. Does that wording sort of say that they're hearing some things you would believe?
Oh, no, I think what it says is that off-season is possible.
Right.
Right now, because the cap, the dead money hit
Right.
is just astronomical. They
Right.
would have to get they would have to get, and I'll use the term because I heard the same term. They'd have to get a blockbuster amount in return. And I mean, what teams are willing to kind of trade? You probably want a receiver of equal caliber, or you'd want like a quarterback or an edge rusher, one of the top edge rushers out there, or you'd want a lot. Look, again, I never say never. Every player is expendable for the right amount. Right, Jalen Hurts is tradable if you can get back. I don't know, Joe Burrow, right? So it's not like it's nothing. It's not like how they'll hang up the phone. But I just think considering the dead money hit, and really more than anything, Howie Roseman doesn't trade elite players that will help you try and win a Super Bowl.
Sure.
And I understand, there's the noise around AJ, and I know he's frustrated. I know stuff about him and what he's not particularly happy about, and he does have his mental health issues that he's talked about openly before, and he's an emotional guy, and he does allow things maybe sometimes to get to him that he's hearing on the outside, which he needs to do a better job of. But I think they know that they can mitigate that, and I think they know that they know AJ, after living with him for so long, and they know that in his heart, the team is, and he does have the best interest for the team and for his teammates. He just has these individual goals that he has set for himself, and I think when he allows himself to think about it, that's when he goes spiraling down into this path.
So frustration's one thing. Do you believe that A.J. Brown is happy to be on the Philadelphia Eagles?
Well, I mean, I just said that. Yeah, I don't, I think right now he's probably not 100% happy, right? I don't know if it has really much to do with the Eagles as it maybe does one person. He looks around and sees, I think AJ's a top 5 receiver in this league, right? Can we establish that's pretty fair?
I think that's
Yes.
a fair statement on your part.
Yes,
Good
agreed.
analysis.
Right. So let's look at his numbers over the last couple of years compared to those other top 5, those other receivers, those other 4 guys, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, I don't know, whoever picked the other 2. I mean, he's had injuries here and there, and he still does produce at a high clip, but if you look at the numbers, he's just not putting them up. And this goes back to the beginning of training camp. A question I asked him specifically, knowing AJ and just knowing how he felt about things coming into the year. It's like, hey, you've won a Super Bowl, you've won all pros, Pro Bowls, you've kind of pretty much accomplished a bunch in your career already. What motivates you? What are you playing for at this point? And he's like, I want to be known as the best receiver. I want to, I didn't say Hall of Fame, but I know that's what he wants. And I'm sure he's probably thinking that this type of offense and this type of quarterback are keeping him from accomplishing those types of goals. And, I understand everyone in the city, it's all about the team. I get that, but look at your own, look at yourself or whatever, individual goals you have for your job or whatever thing you may be doing. I think it's just only human to have those types of thoughts and feelings, especially after you have accomplished so much. So I think that's kind of where AJ stands. And in terms of his happiness, no, I don't think he's 100% happy. And I would think that maybe in the off season, assuming he's still on the team, there'll be some sit-down talks and exploration about whether it's best for him to be here, for both team and for him.
Are you thinking that this team at 6-2, last year they were 6-2, and this year the bye week comes obviously at a different time. Do you feel overall, your eyeballs, this team's in a better position at 6-2, or equal position, or maybe a lesser position than they were last year when they ended up winning a Super Bowl and turning it all around?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to compare apples to oranges. I would say last year, even though, if people don't, they don't remember it now, but there's still some doubt about where they were, even at 6-2.
Sure.
Which is fair. I mean, they had the sluggish start. They were 2-2 at one point, and even a couple of those wins coming off that bye weren't great. I don't think they have as much talent as they did last year, and it does look like there's a little more parity in the NFC. So I would say probably not as good as last year, but that doesn't mean they can't get it together, and that's what I've been saying repeatedly. Like, Nick deserves the benefit of the doubt. This team deserves the benefit of doubt. They've done it before, and they're kind of starting to figure some things out, not just in the run game, but I thought what happened in the kick return game was not a huge thing, but they're kind of turning around that a little bit. And they had Gibson back returning punts, and something that Jahan Dante does. It's like they're still trying to figure out some of these personnel things, and they're getting guys back, and you're getting Jalen Carter to play closer to the way he did last year. And I think that could be the answer that they're really looking at in terms of the pass rush, not at edge rusher. If Jalen Carter is getting those double teams and playing the way he can play, then you're like, all right, well, then we're getting Nolan Smith back, and Alex Hunt is really starting to flash, and BG's now on the roster. So, that's why I wonder if and they have Azeez Ojulari will be coming back at some point, and Josh Uche. So it's like, where does the guy fit in? Is this the best move for the roster overall? So I don't know if it's a slam dunk that Howie Michael trade, but I know he's definitely looking into it.
Well, Jeff, it might be the bye week for the players, but you have the NFL trade deadline 1 week from today, so prepare to keep on working, Jeff. We appreciate the time
Thanks,
as
Jeff.
always, man, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
There he is, Jeff McClain on the Comcast Business Hotline. So we have Keith Pompey coming up next to talk about the 3-0 Sixers. We will do that. After that,
there's some stuff there, yeah.
We have a lot to unpack about what he had to say about A.J. Brown. And you just have to hope, does this not become a problem in season? Like a big, big problem.
Correct.
All right? Clearly, Jeff's pretty close to A.J. Just reading between the two.
Well, his reporting on A.J. has been fantastic.
It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Whether you're at the job site, sitting in your cubicle, or even working.
All right, we go from one man of the Inquirer to another. Joining us on the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day in business is a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next. Experience the new look of Inquirer Sports, where fans can read, watch, and listen to their favorite reporters and columnists. Go to inquirer.com/sports. I told you, Amy Fadul joins us for the entire 9 o'clock hour in studio. I understand that the job's the job, but the job is a lot easier when there are more fun things to talk about and not just injuries and drama. And joining us now, our man Keith Pompey does a great job covering the Sixers. Keith, man, it has been an electric start to the season for the Sixers, 3-0. I got to ask you, because I know I didn't, did you expect to see what you have seen out of VJ Edgecombe through the first 3 nights?
Nah, I mean, he has me feeling stupid saying, hey, man, I wanted Ace Bailey. Daryl Morey messed up. I wanted Ace Bailey. Nah, I didn't expect it. I mean, VJ Edgecombe is I mean, you know, you saw, like, glimpses of it in Summer League, right? You know what I mean? When you see him jumping, you see his athleticism.
Right.
You know, you speak to him, and it's not a cockiness, but it's a confidence, right? And then he just comes out there, and you look at him and Maxey together, and you say to yourself, wow, this backcourt is already good. It has an opportunity to be elite, like one of the best backcourts around. So, no, I have not, like, for the wildest thing, think that this guy would be averaging 25 points through his first 3 games.
Keith, did you though when you look at this team, it's still so incomplete because of the fact that we haven't seen Joel be able to, you know, really contribute to the level of health yet, and we haven't seen Paul George. Is it wrong for me to be saying how's this all going to fit once Nick Nurse has all of these mouths to feed?
You know what? Yes and no. It's no and yes. I'm gonna say no and yes the other way. And because when you look at it, you say to yourself, like, okay, look at Joel. You know, Joel is typically a ball-dominant player, you know, but he just seems like right now, and it's still early on, that he's one of those guys where he's saying to himself, like, look, I want to see these young guys eat. I want to see them thrive and do things. And no, also because when we look at Paul George, you know, yeah, Paul George is you know, can score and do things like that. But the one thing about Paul George, and I talked to him last year, he's one of those guys, he prefers to blend in. And, you know, like he could take over, he could do certain things in the past, but he always liked being a part of a team where you had other guys. So you look at PG and you say to yourself, what has been the biggest weakness of the Sixers? And it's like perimeter defense where guys are just driving to the lane and doing whatever they can do. I think PG can come in and step in and do that. Now, secondly, when we look at it, what is everybody saying? We got 2 guys with max contracts. Look at what they're doing. Well, right now, if you're looking at Tyrese Maxey and you're looking at VJ Edgecombe, if I'm Joel Embiid and I'm Paul George, I'm saying hallelujah, praise God, praise Allah, whoever you want to praise, because now it's like it's okay to fit in as opposed to have to live up to that contract.
I don't know if we lost Keith or not, but Keith Pompey joining us on the Comcast Business Hotline. Keith, we've been talking about this through the first 3 games now. Do you believe we've seen a passing of the torch from maybe it being just Joel Embiid's team to now, hey, let's look at Maxey as maybe the guy on this team and some of the younger players? It goes to your point about blending in. Is it still Joel Embiid's team, or are we starting to see maybe a collective group? I guess
we did lose Keith.
Yeah,
that was such a good question.
I know it was.
That was such a good question. I write that one down.
I'll put him on hold.
That was great.
I don't know how to do this, Connor.
Well, Connor could.
I put him back on.
Connor's
hold.
good at doing it.
Yeah, I mean, look,
when I've heard twice in the past week, Nick Nurse with us, Nick Nurse in a post game, talking about the fact is, well, when we're running things through Joel, that to me is like we're running things through Joel. That's
well, when they run things through Joel, does not mean they will constantly be running through Joel. All right, we got Keith back. All right, Keith, I was asking you the question. I don't know if you heard it, so I'll just ask it again. Do you believe? We've asked this question to the audience. Do you believe that we are starting to see a passing of the torch from it being Joel Embiid's team, right, where everything goes through Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid's the face of the team. Joel, the process Embiid, to maybe, all right, maybe more so Maxey or maybe a collective group, but you're starting to see it not just be Joel Embiid's team anymore, which I think that's actually a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, look at the roster. I mean, look at the guys that they have, right? I mean, look at VJ Edgecombe. He likes to get out and go. Look at the athletic fours that they have. You know, Don Barlow. A lot of people don't realize that. You know, he was a swingman in high school and like in overtime and league. So what they're doing is they're going out getting these guys who can play multiple positions, who can play next to, you know, Tyrese Maxey. So it is a changing of the guard. What I think it is one of those things where we say, okay, let's do the safe bet. The safe bet is like, let's get a roster that we can fit around Maxey. But if Joel is good enough and if he can still be that player, then what we can do is we can have times where he takes over. But we got to build for the future. And when you look at this roster, all these pieces that they have, they fit Tyrese Maxey's style more so than it fits Joel Embiid's style.
All right, Keith. Listen, man, we appreciate the time.
Thank you,
as
Keith.
always. You're the best. I hope it's a more enjoyable process. I know that you were a reporter.
Don't say process.
Yeah, you're right.
Please.
A more enjoyable season where there's a lot more storylines to talk about. We appreciate the time, and we'll be talking to you more down the road.
Yeah, please don't talk about the process.
Yeah, please. Can we stop that?
You're the man. There he is,
Yeah,
Keith
all right,
Pompey
bye.
on
Bye.
the Comcast Business Hotline. All right, coming up next, Amy Fadul will be with us in studio. She's already here. She's ready to go. And I can't wait to ask her that question because she gets to view the Sixers a little bit differently than a Keith Pompey. And I don't think she's complaining about the 3-0 start to the Philadelphia 76ers this year and the excitement that surrounds this team. So Amy joins us coming up next. We'll get back to our Eagles topics, our Sixers topics. And we're going to hear from you as well at 610-632-0975. Are we starting to see something special form with the Sixers? It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
A monster game for Maxey. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Sixers, they kept their hot start going last night. 136-124, their victory over the Magic, and Tyrese Maxey led all scorers with 43 points. It's his second 40-point game in the first 3 games of the season. VJ Edgecombe had 26, Kelly Oubre had 25, so some other contributions as well, but Tyrese Maxey was the star. He did talk, though, after the game on NBC Sports Philadelphia about the rookie he shares the backcourt with, VJ Edgecombe.
I mean, for how he's playing, you know, he's playing extremely aggressive. Only had 2 turnovers tonight. Has the ball in his hands a lot. You know, we all trust him. He got to keep playing that way. But, yeah, his defense has been great. His patience has been great, and he scored the ball at a high level.
Sixers play again tonight, 7 p.m. down in Washington against the Wizards. That game live here on the Fanatic. Flyers are back on the ice tonight, a 6 p.m. puck drop at home against the Penguins. That game will be on WMMR. NFL wrapped up Week 8 last night. Chiefs beat the Commanders 28-7 on Monday Night Football. So the Eagles are rolling into the bye week 6-2 atop the NFC East. Dodgers beat the Blue Jays 6-5 in 18 innings last night in the World Series. Dodgers lead that series 2-1. Amy Fadul joins the guys for the rest of the show. This update is brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. Tullamore Dew. When it's game time, it's Tully time. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
And HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. No re-rack today because we just had a lot of things happen over the last couple of segments. We had Keith Pompey on the last segment to talk about the Sixers, but we did not have a chance to react to what Jeff McClain had to say about A.J. Brown. So Amy Fadul is with us in studio for the remainder of the show today. Amy, good morning.
Everyone.
Amy.
Nice to see you all.
I would love to just dive deep into the Sixers with you.
No, we got to talk about, I was listening to Jeff's comments on AJ. Very illuminating.
Yeah. So, you know how sometimes you can just kind of read behind the, read between the lines or
Sure.
read the tea leaves.
Absolutely.
You know that certain reporters may speak to certain players more, right? Like, just
like you develop a little bit of a relationship.
There's a bit of Ramona Shelburne usually has a lot of Embiid nuggets. Like, she's usually the first one, so maybe there's a connection there.
Windhorse with LeBron.
Yeah,
Well, it used to be.
Or
I know,
yeah,
exactly.
it used to be.
Until LeBron trashed him.
So Jeff McClain spoke a lot about A.J. Brown and the things that he's hearing and some of the things he won't divulge because, look, he is a good reporter. There are some things that are said, obviously, off the record, right?
Yes, you can't say everything.
You can't say everything, but you can say a lot of things, too. And Jeff McClain did say a lot of things.
I learned a lot.
So we were... Before anyone thinks, oh, you guys are always trying to make something up with A.J. Brown. No, we were talking about the Eagles, the trade deadline, and all this kind of stuff. The Eagles' nice win over the Giants. What was the locker room like? Because you beat the doors off the Giants. But you brought up Jeff McClain. You brought up A.J. Brown. What was your question? Because you didn't say his name.
Well, no, you guys were talking about trades.
We're talking about trades.
And he said something about a wide receiver is always out there, whatever, and I think that led to it.
And I said, Adam Schefter and the other insiders on Sunday said, the Eagles have no interest in trading A.J. Brown in season. The Eagles have no interest in trading A.J. Brown at this time.
Yeah, this right now.
And that wording told me these guys are at these owners' meetings. They're out there having conversations. You know what it's like, Amy. They have cocktails after hours. They run into a guy at the bar. They're shooting the bull. I think that they've heard things.
And there's people that complain just because it's a negative story. They complain weekly about Diana Rossinu, who's putting out a weekly A.J. Brown story, but clearly she's getting it from somewhere. And so Jeff McClain, 20 minutes ago, was on the station, and here was his response to sort of speculation and reports about A.J. Brown.
Oh, no, I think what it says is that off-season is possible.
Right.
Right now, because the cap, the dead money hit is just astronomical. They would have to get and I'll use the term because I heard the same term. They'd have to get a blockbuster amount in return. And what teams are willing to kind of trade, you probably want a receiver of equal caliber, or you'd want like a quarterback or an edge rusher, to one of the top edge rushers out there, or you'd want a lot. Look, again, I never say never. Every player is expendable for the right amount, right? Jalen Hurts is tradable if you can get back, I don't know, Joe Burrow, right? So it's not like it's nothing that it's not like how they'll hang up the phone. But I just think considering the dead money hit, and really more than anything, High Rosen doesn't trade elite players that will help you try and win a Super Bowl.
Sure.
And I understand, there's the noise around AJ, and I know he's frustrated. I know stuff about him and what he's not particularly happy about, and he does have his mental health issues that he's talked about openly before, and he's an emotional guy, and he does allow things maybe sometimes to get to him that he's hearing on the outside, which he needs to do a better job of. But I think they know that they can mitigate that, and I think they know that they know AJ, after living with him for so long, and they know that in his heart, the team is, he does have the best interest for the team and for his teammates. He just has these individual goals that he has set for himself, and I think when he allows himself to think about it, that's when he goes spiraling down into this path.
And then I even followed up and I said, hey, look, is he happy?
Yeah, because he said, we've had conversations. That's basically what he said.
That answer's wild, though.
Yeah, can we grab that, too?
When he says about whether he's happy, he goes, well, maybe not happy with one person.
With one person, and let's all speculate together
I think
who
we're
that
gonna
one
figure it
person
out.
is.
I know who it is.
And it's Jalen Hurts.
Oh.
And look, we still, for the life of us, have no idea what happened. Again, Jeff McClain, just reading between the lines, has a bit of a connection with A.J. Brown, right?
So he's done great reporting on A.J. as well as anybody in this market.
Jeff has said numerous times, all right, just to get all the records straight here, Jeff McLean has said numerous times that the best friend thing was a little overblown when he first came here. They are friends.
Okay, but
what happens when you work together sometimes?
Let's all remember the FaceTime.
Oh, I know.
That's not just somebody that I'm like kind of friends with.
Yeah, it was bigger than that. I mean, it was big. That night was, a celebration.
And isn't there like a relationship? Like
there's a godson.
Oh yeah.
You know, and that's part of it too.
I get it. Maybe they're not the bestest buddies of all time, but I mean, that's a pretty tight relationship right there.
And then we know what Brandon Graham said on the air last year, and what happened after that, and it's just kind of been weird ever since. And when you hear Jeff McLean not count out the chance of him being traded during the offseason, right? Like,
and I think that's good reporting on his part.
But here's the scary thing, right? If we're at that point, right, where I'm not going to say it's inevitable, but it almost feels like, okay, there could be a part in the ways. Look, Jeremy Fowler was on with us 2 weeks ago and said, I would not be surprised if there's a change of scenery after this season.
I think he believes it. And
can they look right now? Can they overcome
that's the thing.
this right now?
We've been talking about they're 6-2, and we talk about A.J. Brown and his tweets or Instagram posts or whatever. Their relationship, is it on? Is it off? Is it good? Is it bad? We talk about that every single week now. It's talked about every single week. Is he getting used enough? And I appreciate that he's a wide receiver, and they're always going to be dominating the headlines because that is the nature of their position, especially in this offense. But yeah, if I'm the front office, I'm tired of talking about a guy that hasn't really played all that well.
Yeah,
he didn't play last week. We're still talking about him. He didn't play.
I think it's unfair.
I
think it's unfair that he's doing this.
Well, I just think that's him. I think that's what Jeff was trying to say. Like this is him.
But he doesn't have to.
No, I mean he does though.
What do you mean? Explain it to me. Explain
I mean, it's like telling somebody that they're addicted to Diet Coke. Stop drinking Diet Coke.
Okay, if NBC Sports Philadelphia said to you, Amy, we love your work and we love you being a part here. You're one of our signature people, but we need you to stop tweeting.
I mean, that'd be easy for me.
Yeah, I think that you're not that person that gets. It is.
I'm
it
not
is
addicted
for
to
a grown
it,
man. For a grown man to be able to not do it, there's something. Then you need to get serious assistance.
I think people have told him like you need to chill with this, and he's even said it. Like
he himself has, and then he goes.
I got it to be better about it.
He goes right back to doing it
because he wants to get his point of view out there. It's a person that they just want to make sure that they're heard, and I appreciate that aspect. But there's better avenues to do it.
Now, one thing I always like to bring this up.
Amy doesn't make A.J. Brown's money, by the way. A little less.
A little less.
We've seen the contract, just a smidge less.
One thing I always like to bring up because I think people struggle with this, and I'm never afraid to call out fans that do this.
Okay.
Where they say this is like media driven or whatever. I believe it was Eagles Nation that is a fan Twitter account, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
They're the ones that found out that A.J. Brown had been deleting tweets that mentioned Jalen Hurts, right?
Yes.
And so, like,
the internet's amazing.
Why are we here? Like, what is it really that bad that you either went in it yourself or you paid some? Because I know services can scrub that stuff out.
And I believe AJ's has maintenance people like that.
So did he have somebody go in there to delete anything? Like, how many times have you seen the athlete that? Oh, look, they deleted all of their Sixers pictures. Or remember that happened with Embiid this year.
Well, like
Kyler Murray did it with the Cardinals.
They changed their bio.
Yeah, and we read too much into it. But seriously, why are you deleting every? I know I vowed to ignore it. I vowed to ignore it, Amy. To ignore anything social media related with A.J. Brown moving forward. I just want him to play and play well, and they win football games. But there is like what's going on here?
Yeah,
it can't be ignored.
Well,
it can't be ignored.
That's the thing.
He makes himself a story every week.
That's what I was saying. It's just like every week, all the rest of that locker room is going to have to answer some kind of question about it. Did you see what AJ said? What do you think about that? And these guys are like, listen, but you take the good with the bad, and when AJ is good, it's very good, right? And the bad is the extra commentary, the reading of the book on the sideline, all the nonsense sometimes it's associated with him. But at some point, there's people on that team and in that front office are going to be like, it's just not worth it.
Yeah. Let's go to Alex on the cell. Let's talk about A.J. Brown. What's up, Alex?
Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
How you doing?
Good to hear from you, buddy.
And
What's
thank
up?
you for holding on. I know you've been holding on, but you heard, I think you were on hold when Jeff was speaking, so you heard Jeff McClain say it. What's your reaction to that?
I mean, as far as being on hold, no worries. I went to high school with Andrew. I've been a big fan of his way back.
Oh, what's up? I know who this is. What's up, Alex? What's going on, brother?
Doing well, man. I hope you're doing well as well. And, John, we talked to Lorenzo Stakes a couple years back.
Yeah, we met at Lorenzo's in the borough. See, there you go.
Correct. Exactly right. So to answer your question about Jeff McClain, so, yeah, I think he's absolutely right. Most of the pundits, at least nationally, don't realize that the trade this midseason is impossible with the dead cap hit. But I think in the offseason, knowing Howie and how well he does with the cap, it's doable. Now, how likely it is, I'm not sure, but I wanted to get your guys' take on this, is if Howie decides to trade him in the offseason, what would be a reasonable return? And I think what would, if we were to trade for not just picks, but a player, what would we address? The corner, edge rusher? Because clearly in playoff football, which I think is the biggest worry for us, pass rush, running game, and line play translates a lot better to playoff football than
I mean, Alex, ultimately it's going to take two to tango. And thanks for the call, right? Like I can't just do this whole AJ Brown.
It's not going to be AJ
Brown for Myles Garrett. Like I can't just do that. But as you heard Schefter say it, and Jeff McClain reiterated it, it's going to have to take a blockbuster because we all know he's talented. It may not just necessarily work here anymore.
But he's
why?
hurting his value, which hurts Howie. He's hurting his value by all these antics because there are going to be a lot of teams that say, I don't want to deal with this.
There's also some, I can fix him.
Oh, no, Dallas is like the kind of team. Franchises like Dallas that will take it.
Deshaun Watson got a guaranteed deal.
Right. And there's going to be, but he's absolutely hurting his value.
I just wonder.
That is the franchise that is just going to die.
All right, coming up next, I got to ask you, what happened? Because let's not act like A.J. Brown wasn't a 1,500-yard receiver in back-to-back years.
Right.
Wait a minute. Go back to the tweet right after the Super Bowl.
I got you.
That's what it goes back to.
All right, so coming up next, I had the follow-up to Jeff. Is A.J. Brown happy here with the Philadelphia Eagles? You'll hear Jeff's response to that next. We'll get your text messages on this. Just your immediate reaction when you hear it. You're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Unfiltered with Ricky Bo.
7:13 here on Kincade Salciunas 97.5 The Fanatic. Amy Fadul with us in studio for the remainder of the show. You can text in at 610-632-0975. Our Sixers question is whether or not you believe something special is starting to form. We'll ask Amy about that coming up probably toward the bottom of the hour. But Jeff McClain joined us in the previous hour around 8:25. You can hear it all on 97.5thefanatic.com as well as the YouTube page. And he talked a lot about A.J. Brown, and I asked him a follow-up question that we'll play for you here momentarily. But a couple of things that I want to say, because I'm just kind of reading our YouTube chat. Our man Mopar, are we really doing trade speculation? No, we're not talking about trading him next week. But there is a very strong chance that A.J. Brown may be playing his final season with the Philadelphia Eagles. At one point, a guy, if you remember, we were talking about potentially going down as the greatest wide receiver in Eagles franchise history. 1,496 yards his first season with the Eagles. 1,456 yards in his second season with the Eagles. 1,079 last year when he only played 13 games.
And it was Saquon Barkley's show.
Right. So the fact that he was still a 1,000-yard receiver. Right. This year, it's obviously been off, whether it's been Patullo or Hurts, the offensive line, collective, right? It has not been there, and there's been a lot of drama. And a lot of it is being created by the man himself and A.J. Brown with the stuff on social media, right?
It's not being created by anybody else but him.
Right.
Nobody else is getting the blame for this.
And I want to address this because I know this is a very touchy subject. So Tony on the YouTube chat, A.J. struggles with mental health issues. He openly talked about it. He needs help, and bashing him on the radio and the media doesn't help the situation. Listen, I am very much a mental health advocate.
You absolutely are.
I've told you stories.
No question.
You are. It hits home. All right, it hits home. I understand that that's a very touchy subject, but when it comes to the team itself, when we're talking about what's going on with the team, him not being happy with his production and him putting certain things out on social media, I can't just say that's okay because he battles with mental health issues.
No, not when you don't get you got to. One of the keys as a grown man, as a person, as an adult, as a family leader, you have to get the help that's there for you if it is such a problem. And if it is, the NFL offers the best mental health for their entire. If you're a staff member, if you work in the ticket sales department, you have access to this stuff.
Well, we don't know what he's doing. You don't know that he's not already getting.
He may be.
Yes, he's been
help.
very open about it. He's talked about it. We've all heard the clip when he was with the Titans.
It was
so
wild.
I'm sure that he's well aware of what's offered because that's just the type of guy. I do think that there is something to be said for the certain amount of insecurities that you might have if you need to be always addressing something in a passive kind of aggressive way, right? With these cryptic tweets and deleting things and there's something. I don't know that that's mental health related so much as it is just an insecurity about your position and how you feel you're being utilized and going about it that way.
And by the way, this is not bashing. That's
not bashing.
You're trying to figure out what's going on, to be honest.
What, and that's why when I bring up his stats, he was on the trajectory of being a Hall of Fame wide receiver.
He's going to be. He's on. If he continues to play in the NFL, he's going to be a Hall of Fame.
So what happened? And that's the question that we'll probably never know until maybe if he does get traded, then you get the according to so and so. This is what went down between he and Jalen Hurts.
I'm telling you, it goes back to the post Super Bowl tweet, and Connor and you and I did the topic on it. He wasn't happy the week after the Super Bowl, saying that. Well, I get joy in where, I'm dominating, where my numbers. He's worried about that. He's worried about numbers. That's what gets him out of bed in the morning. That's fine, but that's not what they are. They're a team.
Right.
They don't care about the numbers. They care about winning.
So I asked Jeff McClain after you brought up A.J. Brown, and he had that very impactful response. I said, look, is he happy with the Philadelphia Eagles? And this was his response.
Well, I just said that. Yeah, I don't, I think right now he's probably not 100% happy, right? I don't know if it has really much to do with the Eagles as it maybe does one person. He looks around and sees, I think AJ's a top 5 receiver in this league, right? Can we establish that's pretty fair?
I think that's a fair statement on your part.
Yes,
good
agreed.
Analysis.
Right. So let's look at his numbers over the last couple of years compared to those other top 5, those other receivers, those other 4 guys, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, I don't know, whoever picked the other 2. He's had injuries here and there. and he still does produce at a high clip, but if you look at the numbers, he's just not putting them up. And this goes back to the beginning of training camp. A question I asked him specifically, knowing AJ and just knowing how he felt about things coming into the year. It's like, hey, you've won a Super Bowl, you've won All Pros, Pro Bowls, you've kind of pretty much accomplished a bunch in your career already. What motivates you? What are you playing for at this point? And he's like, I want to be known as the best receiver. I didn't say Hall of Fame, but I know that's what he wants. And I'm sure he's probably thinking at this type of offense and this type of quarterback are keeping him from accomplishing those types of goals. And, I understand everyone in the city, it's all about the team. I get that, but look at your own, look at yourself or whatever individual goals you have for your job or whatever thing you may be doing. I think it's just only human to have those types of thoughts and feelings, especially after you have accomplished so much. So I think that's kind of where AJ stands. And in terms of his happiness, no, I don't think he's 100% happy. And I would think that maybe in the off season, assuming he's still on the team, there'll be some sit-down talks and exploration about whether it's best for him to be here for both team and for him.
I just wonder how many sit-down talks have already happened.
Well, we already know
about one meeting.
Yeah, I know. And I'm not even talking about...
He tried to deny it.
I know
So he's
he
either
did.
calling Saquon and...
No, I just think he just didn't. They don't like when those things get out.
Right. And so, look, all I'm going to say
Wonder how
is
they get out.
the three of us were talking about during the commercial break. Doesn't necessarily mean that the grass is greener on the other side. What you get traded to the New Orleans Saints?
Well, maybe it will be. And there's a reason for that.
For AJ?
For us.
No, I'm talking for AJ.
I know.
I'm trying to address this to AJ. Like, wow, you're playing with Tyler Shuck now.
No, we need to address ourselves. There's a reality about Philadelphia sports fans.
Interesting.
And it ain't changing.
I guess that's
Wow,
coming
okay.
your way next.
Sounds like
Find
a
out.
tease.
That is.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
You'll hear that. I want to see some have people been texting in since Jeff?
Oh, yeah, a bunch.
All right, we'll roll through a bunch of texts, and then I do want to talk about the happiness.
There is some joy in
That is the
Mudville.
Philadelphia 76ers. We'll get into all that coming up next. It's
A little
Kincade
bit.
Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
The Sixers start 3-0. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Sixers they continue their hot, undefeated start to the season last night, taking down the Magic 136-124. Tyrese Maxey led all scorers with 43 points, his second 40-piece of the young season. B.J. Edgecombe had 26. Kelly Oubre had 25. So it wasn't just Tyrese Maxey. It was a team effort as well. And Maxey talked on NBC Sports Philadelphia after the game about what Coach Nick Nurse has done to make sure the team is involved in its entirety.
We put in something, Coach Nurse put in something that's going to cater to everybody. I think he did a really good job with that. He looked at the team that we had, the guards that we had, and then we also had Big Fella and PG. So, he put in an offense that would be, good for everybody.
Sixers are back in action tonight, 7 p.m. down in Washington against the Wizards. That game will be live here on the Fanatic. Flyers get back on the ice tonight at 6 p.m. They've got the Penguins at home. That game on WMMR. NFL Week 8 wrapped up last night. Chiefs beat the Commanders 28-7. So the Eagles are rolling into the bye week, 6-2 with a good lead in the division. Dodgers beat the Blue Jays 6-5 in a marathon 18-inning World Series game last night. LA leads that series 2-1. Amy Fadul stays with the guys for the remainder of the show. This update is brought to you by Macy's Backstage. It's a whole department inside your Macy's store where you can find the looks all for under $30. With new arrivals every day, you never know what you'll find. Find a location at Macy'sBackstage.com. I'm Connor Thomas on your home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5TheFanatic.com.
Attention,
this. Whatever
what the fans are.
Whatever your response is with A.J. Brown and the fans, and the best thing for us or for everybody, I forget. But real quick, check out the Fanatic deal of the week. Buy one ticket for Sahara Sam's Water Park in West Berlin, New Jersey. I just drove by it this weekend. And then you get one free. So rain or shine, Sahara Sam's Indoor Water Park delivers nonstop tropical thrills all year round. Get this deal now through Sunday while supplies last at 975thefanatic.com/deals. And as we have talked about in the past, I did the deal of the week for Legoland, which was right near Amy's
And you
house.
loved it.
Right? And it was a great deal. It was a great deal. Buy one, get one. So check it out, 975thefanatic.com for the deal of the week. All right, Connor, what nonsense are you going to spew here?
All right, that's a hell of a way to set it up. I need this to be abundantly clear. I am not in any way blaming the Philadelphia fan base for the A.J. Brown situation, so I don't want anyone to take it this way.
And yet,
good luck.
Here's what I'll say. Like, for a guy that clearly has insecurities, for a guy that has the issues that he's had with his career and everything, for a guy that needs to be in a space that is mentally beneficial for him in A.J. Brown, are we going to pretend like Philadelphia is probably the best place for that? And
all right, name me the city fan base where, by the way, he wants accolades, but I'm sure he also doesn't want to be on an 0-17 team. So, like, Cleveland is another rough and rowdy, even though they don't win anything.
They'll get on you.
Rough and rowdy fan base. Like, where are you going to say that he's going to go where it's going to be better?
Okay, how about this? If he picked a career for himself, I'm sure he would love to be Mike Evans. Like a team like that, where a team that they're good, but they're not.
But he's not going to get the accolades. There's a level of apathy with that fan
Philadelphia is constantly in the national spotlight, for better sometimes, but a lot of times for worse. The fan base is ravenous. There's no chance that this fan base is ever going to care less about the Eagles. And with caring so much about the Eagles comes a hell of a lot of scrutiny. Scrutiny, I should say. So with A.J. Brown, if he's in a situation where all of this is too much for him, it may be better for him and for us that he goes to a different type of sports fan base.
Yeah, but how do we know? Again, I try to be as careful as possible here because I know how touchy mental health is. I know it. All right, very close to home. Like, I totally understand. But, like, just because he's not having good production this year, is that because of mental health, or is the offense not going in his favor, right?
Is he not getting what he wants? It's obvious that he's not getting what he wants. Jeff's comments clearly make it. He's not getting what he wants.
Not happy about certain things, or maybe even a certain person, which is what Jeff said.
It's personal.
And then that affects him mentally, but then mentally he's affecting the way his game is played.
Right.
It's a circle.
And anyone who's ever, and Amy's been embedded, I have been embedded with teams, covered teams. Players hate having to talk about other players. And AJ is constantly making himself something that the team has to address. Executives have to address. Teammates have to address. It's awful. That's awful for other players. They just want to come to work. They want to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They're there to work. They're not here to deal with drama.
Now, by the way, you mentioned the Bucs. So let's talk this out a little bit. Would the Eagles trade A.J. Brown in division? No.
No.
Would they rather trade him to the AFC?
Yes.
Yes. Now I get a blockbuster deal is what they would take. So
they're going to be looking for draft picks.
So what situation in the AFC is it really going to what the Titans?
The Indianapolis Colts.
Go back to Tennessee because they want to give Cam Ward a receiver.
Colts.
Like,
that's an interesting one.
You know,
I just think, and
don't have
here's
a
the
lot.
thing: this is an assumption that we're not ready to 100% jump to. Right? It could be a Jalen AJ thing, and in that case, that's something totally different, and we don't know that at this point. But all I'm saying is,
who do you think it is?
I
It could be the OC.
I don't
It could
know.
be the head
No, it
coach.
can be.
It could be.
But he would be deleting. Would he be deleting all the?
Well, some people are saying that people were quote tweeting that and tweeting it at him, so that's why he deleted it. So he just stopped hearing from people on social media. I don't know who it's pointed at, but if there is a component of this where he's uncomfortable with the amount of scrutiny he gets in a market like Philadelphia, it could be as simple as he benefits from going to a different market.
All right. My only thing is, like, it was really, really good in 22, 23, and 24 in 13 games, having over 1,000 yards. And I understand it was the Saquon show. AJ had a good season. It's just this year has been the problem. Now, what do we got on the text line? What are the people saying on the text line? Because I'm curious. Like when John and I both looked at each other when Jeff was talking.
Yes.
Like, whoa.
Like, what's going on?
Wow. This changes how the show is going to be run today. What do we got?
This texter says, I want to preface that I love A.J. Brown, but why did the team play as a team, and why did the offense work the best it has all year without him on the field this past week?
I brought it up to you guys Sunday in our notes. That is the best the offense looked all year without their arguably best weapon on offense. They were not worried about placating one person. It was about the team on Sunday.
Sure. It wasn't.
Let's make sure that we're forcing the ball to AJ like they did in Tampa. That Tampa game, they had a great offensive first half. Great, we were there for it, and then they start forcing it to AJ.
I will say Jalen missed AJ numerous times.
He did.
The throw down the sideline, that's a throw that Jalen normally makes.
On the other sideline where he kind of came in a little bit.
Timing route through it late. Like, so to me, it's not. By the way, like I'm fine with forcing the ball to A.J. Brown, right?
Every good offense.
How many times have we said slant route, get it to A.J. Brown?
You think Jared Goff's not forcing it to Amon-Ra? Come on.
Right. Or Joe Flacco to Jamar Chase, like 17 receptions in one game.
Oh, you're good.
Like, let's try to get him the ball. So, like, I'm fine with that. I want that to be clear. Like, I'm fine with it. It's just
okay. Let me just say this to all of you, because Amy, I want to get in this too. Is when you're up by 18 in the second half, you're trying to burn clock, and it's 100 degrees. The smart thing is not to force the ball to your wide receiver.
But remember, they could not get yards on the ground.
Well, because they had an offensive coordinator that wasn't doing the job.
Yeah, he was running. They were running him right into Vita Vea, like every single time.
I mean, there's things that you can do to make it better. That wasn't a smart game plan against Tampa Bay. It was not smart.
No.
That day was not.
And that's going to feed into the frustration from your number one wide receiver.
I don't believe it's necessarily a correlation that they looked their best because A.J. Brown wasn't out.
Yeah,
I don't.
No, it could be.
I don't believe.
But do you think it's more than a coincidence?
I thought the ground game was cooking.
It was.
And that's why they ran the ball so well. And because they ran the ball so well.
And I think you thought that, like, beginning of that, before that game started, you thought this could be a Saquon day.
Well, let's face it, right?
Everybody was saying that
could be a Saquon
the Giants are one of the worst rushing defenses in the NFL, so the ground game was working, which then opens things up in the passing offense, right? I thought after the Vikings game that the ground game would be better because of the way the passing offense looked against Minnesota, and credit to A.J. Brown for being a part of that. I think the offense looked so good because the Giants also had how many guys out in the secondary?
3.
Yeah, like that may also play a bit of a factor, and I don't think it was just because A.J. was not there. It'll be interesting to see. Look, Green Bay's good defense.
Yep.
Post-bye week. Hopefully the hamstring's feeling better. It's going to be really interesting to keep an eye on. What else we got on the text line?
All right, this texter, Big Leo, checks in and says, is number 11 a cursed number for the Eagles? Wentz not happy when they win. AJ not happy when they win. Burn that number.
By the way, we have not talked about it. Kevin O'Connell, man.
What he did to Carson Wentz needs to be investigated.
Honestly. Everyone and their brother knew his shoulder was messed up.
Except for Kirk Street.
Yeah.
Which is wild to me. Everyone and their brother knew about it. Carson had talked about it and been discussed openly. Shoulder, not great. We all knew. To put him out there is beyond malpractice.
So in case people don't
all the
know,
hits too.
Carson Wentz
putting him out there
2.5 games ago. So in the second half against the Steelers in London, he suffered a dislocation that tore his labrum and fractured the socket. Now, credit to Wentz.
Oh my gosh.
He knows. Look, I got to keep playing through this because A, this might be my last shot.
McCarthy's not there.
B, McCarthy's not available. But last week when they're down 34-10 and you knew the game was over.
Unbelievable.
You got to take him out of the game.
Unbelievable. I honestly couldn't believe what I was seeing. I thought certainly there must be something that's gone horribly wrong that you're completely ignoring the catastrophic shoulder injury to your starting quarterback.
And the emergency, by the way, J.J. McCarthy was the emergency quarterback.
Yeah, he could have.
Give me another human.
Anybody could have gone in there.
But because he's the prized first round.
Well, that's Kevin O'Connell.
Then you find somebody else.
That's
because you can't do that. I mean, honestly, that if I'm Carson Wentz, like you have to think about. Well, obviously, yes, his career is done. There's no way you come back from this. I don't think at his age and the way that he's had to.
He'll probably hang around as a backup somewhere.
The toughness that he showed, Amy, do you think that maybe gets him more points?
Backup quarterbacks are really important.
Like he won them,
and you have to utilize them. And if his shoulder's that jacked up.
Yeah. I mean, it's his non-throwing
rehab.
shoulder, so
Right,
maybe
but,
that
like-
helps.
I look at O'Connell totally differently.
Yeah,
now.
look, this is one of these. Like,
That
I
was
know,
just-
I know
that
there's a
was
lot of
despicable
There's probably a
behavior.
lot of
It was
people
an
in
egregious
Philadelphia that laugh at it, like, because it's Wentz. If you just forget the name for a second, like, that was egregious.
It was horrible.
Egregious.
Despicable behavior. I think it should be investigated. Honestly, the league investigates everything.
They investigate if your socks are too high or too low. So, yeah, go ahead and throw one on a shoulder injury that shouldn't have been out there.
All right, coming up next, more texts on A.J. Brown. The comments made by Jeff McClain. Oh, boy, did that change the show a little bit. But I do want to have some fun talking about the Sixers because Amy's wearing her Sixers shirt today, Johnny, and we barely talked about them.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Amy.
So how much more fun is covering the Sixers during pre and post? We'll find out next. It's Kincade and Salciunas. Amy here with us the rest of the show, 97. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. All right, before we get back to these A.J. Brown texts that we've been getting from the incredible interview we had with Jeff McClain, I know it's on 97.5thefanatic.com. I know it's on our YouTube feed. I know we have clips that we've played and we'll probably continue to play as the week goes on because it was some damning stuff from Jeff, and we appreciate his time as always. The Sixers, I appreciate them because the Philadelphia 76ers have provided us with joy in this early part of the season, winning last night over the Magic 136-124 to start the season 3-0. Tyrese Maxey, yet again, 43 points last night, 4 of 11 from 3, 15 of 32 from the field. Oh, no, by the way, adds 8 assists to his game as well because VJ Edgecombe dropped 26. Yep. Kelly Oubre dropped 25. So you're getting contributions from a lot of players, which leads to the assist total for Tyrese Maxey as well. So, Amy, I said this earlier in the show when I previewed that you were going to be coming on. A lot of people have the right to turn off the season. But the people that do in pre- and post-game live on NBC Sports Philadelphia do not.
That would make a bad post-game show.
I mean, people would be like, oh, you still – what are you doing right now? Like in the middle of the season last year. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm still here.
Yeah.
Sitting in here. You're watching every game.
Watching every game.
Baby.
Breaking down every game and breaking down players that probably aren't in the NBA anymore this year. No. So first and foremost, how much more of an enjoyable experience has this year been for you?
Obviously. I know you guys were talking to Keith earlier. We're going to do our jobs no matter what. It is definitely a much more pleasant experience to talk about a win and an exciting team and players that are going to be in the league past that season.
Right.
They're not. There was 58 starting lineups last year.
Oh, my God.
That's a record, shockingly.
Okay, that's crazy.
30-plus different players playing on a team. Like, it was a catastrophic season. We all know that. But the joy that you should take away from watching this team is palpable. It is a physical. And you heard Nick Nurse talk about the crowd. If you missed it, he said, our crowd, they're crazy, but a good crazy. They're into it. And that's what makes Philadelphia such a great basketball town. When the team is going well and there is somebody enjoyable to watch, like VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey, they're going to have fun. People are going to get back in. I know everybody's going to be reserved, but.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean.
You're not blaming anybody.
No. It's just the way it was. Yes. It's just the way it was. But, yeah, it is a much more enjoyable experience. Talking about I told you guys when I walked in, Sixers didn't get their third win of the season last year until November 22nd.
Not that you were counting.
We were playing games last year. Who will have more wins by the end of the year, Sixers or Eagles?
It was a real thing.
And they're at 3-0 already.
I don't know the numbers. The numbers on that were – I was looking at numbers last night with the Sixers and just saying this is the production, the balance of production is something that is absolutely wild.
Well, that's the pace, right?
So you're all on the pace.
It's the pace because you're getting you're getting the defensive stops, which are leading to quick buckets. You're getting a lot of attempts. You're getting there's just a lot of possessions. So when you have that, so when people always say like, oh, there's only one basketball, but when you create extra possessions because you have such a good defensive, kind of presence out there, and you're creating turnovers, deflections, steals, that's where you get those extra possessions from, and that's why it does work to have guys that are able to have 40 points and 26 points and 25 points.
Yeah, let's play the Nick Nurse clip, Connor. We had Nick Nurse on last Friday. So after the Sixers won their first game, and it was before the opener against the Hornets. And I'm curious to hear your response to his response. I asked him, like, hey, how do you balance clearly the ability to go, right? You have Maxey, you have Edgecombe. You're going to get Jared McCain back, who's another ball of lightning, right? But you also have Joel Embiid, who's not going to be able to keep up. Like, he won't be able to, but you're going to want to get him especially in the half court. This was Nick Nurse's response.
I think that's certainly a priority is how do we take care of that? And I think right now the answer is those guys got to look to go. Like, we need some throw ahead. We need some attacks in transition. Those guys need to take advantage. I always say, we can always push it and we don't have to rush it all the time. And those times when we don't rush it, we can settle in and Joe's there and we start playing through him. I think more of that, I just want a little more variety of personnel with Joel, not just Tyrese Joel. I want VJ Joel. I want Grimes Joel. I want Paul George Joel when we get back, and I want Kelly and Joel. I just want it to be a little less predictable, even though we're playing probably through Joel.
Even though we're probably still playing through Joel.
At times when he's out there. So if you watch that game, there's a couple different times in the Hornets game, so that's right before the Hornets game, you would see those guys ready to push, and Joel would literally do the hand motion of like, let's go. You guys go on up. Don't worry about me. I will figure it out. So he wants it. That's how it's going to work. When you wonder, and is it going to work every single possession? No, but that's not basketball. Nothing works every single possession.
Right.
But you're going to be out there. He's going to be the trailer. He's going to be out there to. I like that he doesn't have to go to the low post all the time personally. He said it
But
afterwards.
shouldn't he be there more with this a semblance of personnel?
Yes and no, because when he's going to be down in that low post area, you get a lot more. He talked about it. He didn't fall a single time. He jokes about it, but he said, I didn't fall a single time in the opener in Boston. I was on the court 5 times without even blinking, because when you're in that position, you're going to get jostled around. You're going to get banged around. This is a guy they're worried about his health.
Yeah.
No, I don't need you to go inside. Go inside when it makes it right. But the idea of constantly cutting in and being under the basket every single possession for Joel Embiid is not realistic, nor do I think it's going to be how this offense is going to work.
Right, but they have the ability to push. Now, EJM on our YouTube chat, I went into the season optimistic on the Sixers, but strangely, I'm less so far.
What?
Needing Maxey to play above MVP level to beat 3 mid-teams is not super
First of all,
reassuring.
that Magic is not a mid-team.
Magic is not
a mid at all.
Going on the road to start the season against Boston, I know Boston's not the same because Jason Tatum's out, but look, that's still an impressive win. Here's the deal to EJM's.
Wait, what was his name?
EJM.
You don't know basketball.
Well, that's not.
Oh, well,
that's not.
He's just a little. I get it.
That's not
I think people.
EJM. My response to all of that is Joel Embiid is on a minutes restriction. So
a hard 20.
In the 20 minutes game 1 and the 20 minutes game 2, it wasn't fluid. It wasn't, because you're like, all right, how do we do this with Joel on the
I got
court?
7 minutes, and then I got no minutes. And then I got 6 more minutes, and then I got no minutes. And now I have 7 minutes, and I'm done.
And Nick Nurse will have time to try to figure out. By the way, Paul George hasn't played yet, so Nick Nurse will figure out how to work in Paul George. Through 3 games, the fact that they are 3-0, and oh, by the way, maybe Maxey will be this player. Do I think he's going to average 37 tonight? No. But maybe this is, we've talked about the passing of the torch for 3 games now. It could be more so the Maxey show or the young guys, the backcourt show with Embiid there still having his nights.
I just have to see. I can't say the passing of the torch until I see it back with Embiid and George.
Right. You need to see everything, the full complement.
And I don't know how it's going to work. But I'm not the hoops head that either one of you two are. So to me, I'm looking at it, I'm just very confused, because I know that they're going to worry about, when Joel's in, they're going to worry about serving Joel.
See, I don't know that they are as much. And I think that was very telling what Nick Nurse said. He wanted to see a lot of different people with Joel. So at certain lineups, they will serve Joel a little bit more. But in other lineups, they're not. Imagine the 3-guard lineup. Imagine a 3-guard lineup where you have Quentin Grimes, VJ Edgecombe, Tyrese Maxey, and then all of a sudden you go either Kelly Oubre to stick with the athleticism, and then Joel Embiid. In that case, you're not stopping. That is a Joel Embiid as a trailer, going to be out there to, get a long rebound, then cut in if you need him to.
You reset.
Yeah, he's out there.
Right.
But that's what I think. And then in that case, but then if you have the more traditional lineup where you have the 2 guards, you have the 2 forwards, and the center, that's going to be more of okay, we're going to operate a little bit more in the half court, and you're going to feature Joel Embiid. So I think that to me was very telling, that he wants to have all these different things. I mean, he's a little bit of a mad scientist, and I like that about Nick Nurse, because he's got enough pieces to play with right now, which is not something that 58 starting lineups of an 82-game season.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's wild.
That's wild.
Mathematically, it almost seemed impossible. But
and of course, maybe after all this to even look at it,
72
we talked about this earlier in the show. If there is a year for them to finally put it together, it's this year.
I mean, the East is winnable.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like you're going to win the entire Eastern Conference, 3 games into the season. But the makeup of the East is a much more gettable type. Okay, I get that the Cavs and the Knicks are kind of at the top.
They're your 1-2. To me, there's no debate. They're your win regular season.
If you fall into 3 to 6,
especially for the Cavs.
If you fall into 3 to 6 and you get all of these young guys a ton of time this year, it is a highly successful.
We talked about it right before the season. I was with you guys, and it was just like, you know what the Warriors never cared about? The regular season.
No.
The Heat, they don't care about the regular season.
Now they
obviously have
had
some
reasons.
all-world players.
Yeah, they built it and
There's
they
something to be
won.
said for that.
Like LeBron took the Lakers to Game 7 against the Nuggets a few years ago as a 7 seed. Like, that's a little bit different. But I mean, you look at the East. Like, other than the Cavs and the Knicks are the lock 1-2 to me for the Eastern Conference in terms of seeding. After that, like who?
Yeah, I mean, I think the
Milwaukee?
Magic are an up-and-coming team.
Yes,
Their
I like the
roster
Magic,
looks really good. I don't think they put it together. The Hawks, I think, are a better team than people think. But are they a 2? No.
I think the
They're
Magic
like a 5.
I think the Magic will have
Detroit's
one
like
of the
a
top
6.
4, right?
I do. I think that the Magic.
do
I think I had him 3 or 4. I think the Sixers
the
are
Knicks
right in
and the
there.
Cavs will be there.
The Bucks are obviously, that's a regular season team.
Yeah, right.
If I've ever seen one, Detroit's not bad.
Yeah, Detroit's not
goes
bad.
back to the coach for the Bucks for me.
If I've ever seen.
It's just like, yeah, look at us.
I like that.
It's April.
Look, but it's been a fun start. All right, what do we got
It
on
has
the text
been.
line, Connor, before Johnny tells about life-saving cancer research?
All right, you want something more on A.J. Brown?
Sure.
A lot of people
I'm
talking.
sure we do.
All right, so this texter checks in, says A.J.'s beef with the Eagles or Jalen is legit. You brought up looking around the league. Teams get the ball to their best wide receivers. Even the horrible teams get the ball to their best wide receivers. The offense should be amazing, and it's just average. It's a legit thing for A.J. to be mad
Look,
about.
and none of us have disagreed with A.J. Brown's feelings.
Publicly on social media, I'll disagree. Airing out your dirty laundry and doing that stuff on social media, completely disagree. That's not what good teammates do.
But
at all.
But the games, like the way the offenses look, we're not disagreeing with it.
No
but
one disagrees with that.
But Jeff McClain straight up
Except
saying
Bill Colarulo.
Jeff McClain straight up saying one person, and that one person is most likely the quarterback. So something's up, and that's a damn shame. By the way, A.J. Brown, his targets this year, obviously the one egregious against the Cowboys, 8, 10, 9, 8, 9, 6.
Did someone say 10, 9, 8?
Obviously should have more targets on a weekly basis, but like he's around 10 on a weekly basis.
I think it's how it's looked.
I know it's looked ugly. But
the idea of like trading him is just wild to me. Like,
well, it's not happening this year, but
no, it's wild.
Seems like it could happen afterward. All right, Johnny,
Certainly
life-saving cancer
does.
research,
Hey,
please.
Pierce Phelps Bryant Heating and Air Conditioning Contractors. They made a donation to the AACR, and you can too. Go to 975thefanatic.com/AACR because I'm living proof that cancer research saves lives.
Damn right. Amy, thank you as always. We're
Thank
happy
you, guys.
for you.
Good job, Aim.
Thanks,
You got
Keep
this
it
everyone.
up. If
Are
they
you
start
on
losing,
pre and
it's
post
on you.
tonight?
You know it.
Well, we'll be watching tonight on NBC Sports Philadelphia. Everybody have a great rest of the day. Middays with Marks comes your way next. Harry Mays in studio today. Shout out to everybody for being a part of the show today. You too. We love you. Thank you as always. We'll talk to you tomorrow here on 97.